I mean, it is. It's a new year.
It is a new year.
Yes.
New year, new wrestling.
Do we have new format?
Oh, come on now.
No new format yet for the new
No.
year?
Well, yes, we do. We're in new seats.
Oh, we are newly...
We're in new seats.
Yes.
We raised ourselves up a little
Coming
bit.
to you raised up and from a distance.
So now when you look at
from a distance.
So now when we look at the screen, it's not two little mushroom heads.
Yeah,
Big
just kind of
screen.
bobbing
And now we
up
can
and
actually
down.
go like right here. You can see.
Okay, yeah. No, this is good. This is good.
I hope so. And hopefully it's not too washed out.
What's that thing?
Well, that was me trying to adjust the thing, and I didn't finish. Remember, this is the live, the error part of it.
This is while we're waiting for things to happen,
See, we're only 50 seconds in.
Yes, when I talked you up recently, I was like, oh yeah, my co-host for the radio show. They're like, you do a radio show? I was like, it's like on the internet stuff. And then people were asking me questions. They're like, do you have YouTube? I was like, yeah, we gotta have YouTube. I was like, we convert our shows over to YouTube. And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, yeah, don't get that excited. I was like, we have I think our most viewed video is 18 views or something.
Yeah.
It's nobody watches our show. Nobody.
Some people watch our show.
I was like, we just do it to hang out.
We do. Dang it!
I don't even think our friends watch the show anymore.
Most of our friends don't watch the show.
Yes, they gave up. They were like, I'm tired of listening to you guys just bitch about wrestling. I'm like, well, it's a wrestling show, and
that's what we do.
Wrestling's not very good right now, so what else can
I mean,
you
at
do
least,
other than bitch?
I mean, you still at least have your significant other watching yours.
Yeah.
Mine's never watched.
Yeah, I haven't chased her off yet, though the WWE is trying very, very hard to turn her away. And I was like, well, she, because of the article that I shared today, she was like, who's Marco Stunt? So naturally, she looked up Marco Stunt. She's like, oh, he's adorable. I'm like, no! Bad. I was like, you like everyone that I dislike.
Yes. And just so we are on top of the same page, yeah, most of the stuff you've shared on Facebook, and I have not been on Facebook as much, and I've been letting Mike blast the content. I've actually only deleted one thing he ever posted. I think he meant to post that on his personal page.
What did I post?
It was something about Satanists and stuff. I'm like, I don't think he meant that on this page.
Probably not. I don't know. Was it Satanist
It had nothing to do.
or something?
It had nothing to do with wrestling.
Okay.
It looked like a post that somebody might have been hacked for.
Huh. Well, so...
And you were hacked recently.
Yes. The issue is that when you go to share, you have to hit the share button, but you can't do, you have to... You used to be able to hit the share button and then hit where you want it to go through.
Right.
Now you have to hit it, copy it, go to the page, and then post it from the page on that way.
Right.
So there's probably a good shot that I had copied something and it just got dumped. And I actually have no clue. I'm curious to know. I'll have to go back through.
I got rid of it.
My feed.
Yeah, we look much better than we do
we
in
don't
that
look
window.
We're coming through you all blur of the milky eye.
Okay. I just have a crappy computer. All right. So, having said all of that, we do have a few things we're going to talk about. The show's probably going to go about 2.5 hours.
No, it's not.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I planned for 2.5 hours, even though I only have 4 subjects.
I was like, I planned for 40 minutes for this show, honestly. I thought for certain that...
He says that every time, too. It's
no.
It's so cute when you say that. Yeah. All right, so should we actually start the show?
I mean, I suppose so, yes.
All right.
We have an eyeball.
We do have an eyeball. So
someone's watching.
Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Okay, that's gonna be annoying.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of Powerbomb Weekly. Before tonight's show,
you
might be asking, why is your announcer guy wearing his jersey?
Oh, wait a minute. What is going on
here? What
here?
are you doing to Kevin? Kevin, look at what he's trying to do to you.
What?
He is silencing your voice, much like the WWE audio track, and trying to put you into the deep background of the lost headphone that you would not be able to pick up.
What happened? Why are we not... Escape. Why are we not transmitting?
What are you doing? What's wrong with the PowerPoint? What did you do?
I don't
What did you
know.
do?
We're gonna fix this. Don't worry.
What has happened? Fix it.
I'm fixing it. This is the stuff you don't ever want to see.
Yeah, no, this is... Nope.
Ladies and gentlemen,
What happened? Why are we not? So half the problem is I upgraded to Windows 11.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably half the problem.
Well, you need to go back to XP. XP was the greatest operating system that has ever been invented in the history of ever.
Really?
Yeah.
You're gonna put comments like that on the
I am. That's right.
thing?
I'm gonna blast you, as they say. I'm putting you on blast. You know what the kids say? I'm throwing shade.
Oh, he's throwing shade.
Throwing shade.
Man, I don't want to. Why are you not? Why are you being difficult? Okay, so talk amongst yourselves.
Oh no, I just figured me playing on my phone is riveting television for everybody at home that might be watching. You know, Joey's got to do a soft reboot here.
We're gonna reboot the show.
We're gonna reboot the show. Oh, look at all those apps you have running in the background.
Start anyway.
Oh my lord, dude. So, how was your New Year's?
It was great.
What'd you do?
How was the snowpocalypse in your side of the world? Did you get much?
That wasn't no
snow. Or was it? What did your wife call it? Glitter.
Sky glitter. Sky glitter is yes what she enjoys with it. But no, man, like.
Can you imagine how much fun my hill was?
Probably not.
Yeah, I parked downstairs for a while down the hill because
that's probably a good idea.
No, it's.
Do you not have it plugged into the?
No,
thing?
it is because we were seeing it.
Yeah, but we weren't getting any of the audio.
But I heard the audio just a second ago.
Okay. Nobody look at this. Nobody look at whatever pen he's putting in real quick.
You couldn't see it because it was just
My
dots.
lord, all of those open.
None of those are open.
I mean, just all of that stuff on your desktop. It's so cluttered. You know how awesome our New Year's was?
How awesome was your?
I think we both went to bed before midnight, and we both just laid in bed until midnight happened, and then we went to sleep. There we go. Okay, we might be back on track, everybody, so we are going to officially ring in the new year of Powerbomb Weekly with our good friend, Mr. Kevin Chambers. Take it away. I was really hoping that would have...
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of Powerbomb Weekly. Before tonight's show, you might be asking, why is your announcer guy wearing this jersey? Because your announcer guy always pays his bets, even when he feels like he's wearing a garbage bag. And now, on tonight's show, Joey and Michael break down the results of WWE Day 1. Did it hold up to all the promotion? How does it impact the storylines moving forward as we get closer to WrestleMania?
That's the rewrites.
Plus, what happened to NXT? Still a show, but is it dead? And Joey has a man crush on AEW's MJF. We're not sure why. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Hold on, just wait.
Also, TNA, WWE, did the big brand just enter an unforbidden door?
An unforbidden door.
WWE and
I wonder who
TNA,
typed that up.
Did the big brand just open a forbidden door? And finally, we'll take a look at all the storylines and everything moving forward from the last several weeks. But
To
first,
backwards.
let me introduce you to your
Moving
host.
backwards.
He is a man that would never have to wear a garbage jersey like this because he'd never lose a bet. He is 100% right all the time. He is the one and only Michael Burdett. And his co-host. Normally the announcer guy takes this opportunity to take a shot at Joey. See something negative and pick on him a little bit. Tonight, I'm not going to do that. Watch tonight's show, and then after the show, you can take the shots at Joey. New year, new you. He's Joey Marcel. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a reminder that tonight's show is brought to you in part by Kitsap Great Escape, the only escape room in Kitsap County. Tonight I join you from the home of the stolen relic. Can you find the idol, or will you fall victim to people who want to do harm to your body? Find out at kitsapgreatescape.com. Now, on with the show.
Oh, Kevin, thank you for that wonderful intro. Were you giving anything away of clues?
Nope.
In the escape room?
No, because
I have been in that room. That is the room that I played at Kitsap Great Escape, and it was marvelous. We had an amazingly fun time.
And you thought he was going to hate it.
And I thought I was going to hate it.
So, Kevin would like to have liked me to not keep his error in, but you know what? I decided I'd go ahead and add it.
I like that little meow.
Yes.
That was good.
I thought so.
Yes.
So, as always,
Kevin doesn't make mistakes. He makes money. Because anytime Kevin comes on the show to do our wonderful intros, I feel that, you know, the value of the show goes up at least 36 cents.
Oh, no.
Which is probably higher than the WWE stock is trending at this moment.
Yeah. Hi, Joe Beth.
Hi, hon.
So, as always, we do this for fun. Nobody's going to pay us.
I'm trying to get paid. Got to get that money, yo.
We, much like Big Swole, just not anybody
Oh,
interested.
we'll get there. We'll get there. Is something on fire?
Probably my wife's cooking something.
No, your wife's an okay cook. Like,
they'll let us know.
Okay,
the alarms will go
the
off.
smoke detector will let us know. It smells like an electrical fire almost.
Oh, well, stay tuned to see what happens.
Yeah, this might be a very riveting show, or a short one.
All right, so the ratings.
Let
For the
us
end of the
know
year.
if you guys can see that, because it does look very reflective on our side of it. So I don't know how well this infograph is coming across for you guys. Hopefully it's coming across good.
Well, I learned that dark colors makes it work better. As
Okay.
opposed to,
Yeah. You really are into MJF, because I notice our background coloring here is
That's
almost
always
the
been-
same as the color of his
it is a little blurry.
sash that he wears.
So I'm working on it. I'm working on this.
Okay, good.
So, So what I liked was the averages. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So
right.
The average Raw got a 1.7.5 million
I mean, that's...
average. NXT was averaged about 66, almost 70,000, almost 700,000, almost. Dynamite 900,000. They had quite a few shows in the million.
Yeah.
And they ramped them, and the numbers just kept ramping up.
Yes, it did. AEW has climbed up. You know, I mean, if we pause here just for a second.
No,
The interesting thing about that number is, could you imagine that 10 years ago, the WWE Raw would be grateful to get a TNA rating pop at a 1.2, 1.5, and that the new show that shouldn't be, you know, that nobody thought would be doing as good is actually climbing into WWE numbers. But the sad thing is this still only means that like 2 million people are watching wrestling, and that is so low compared to, I think, almost any time since like, what, 95 is probably the worst year in professional wrestling history.
To quote Triple H during the Hall of Fame ceremony, that pissant company. Oh, that didn't age well. And we'll talk more about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Dynamite, like I said, almost 1 million. Just 100,000 shy of 1 million. Impact, up to 120. And if you remember last year, it was running around 60.
Yeah, they were pretty low. I think the numbers they were posting were almost in like the 50s and 60s.
So the rub with Impact doubled their numbers.
Yeah. Well, Impact, honestly, is also turning into a good show.
It is. It really, really is. And it's going to take some time. SmackDown,
which is sad to say for a company that's been in business for, what, almost 20 years?
Right. Well, how many... That's like...
Impact as a brand...
has been in business for a very long time. But they've had how many owners? How many different directions?
3? What? 3 owners?
Okay, yes, but how many different directions have they gone?
4,500. Okay.
SmackDown is running around 2.
Makes sense. I mean, it's got the bigger promotion from Fox.
And the brand new show that's only been on for 3.5 months
is doing almost as much as NXT that's been on for 5.5 years.
Right.
Okay.
And a lot of these NXT's number mid-year was a lot higher than it is now. That number is going to drop.
In the words of the immortal Scott Steiner promo, you see, Joe, the numbers don't lie. Right there.
Yeah.
The numbers don't lie. People are watching wrestling. Nobody is watching wrestling. And the companies that aren't the cultural icon are pulling in almost as much numbers as the dynasty that is the WWE. And that is insane. I mean, if the WWE was pulling in, what, a 4.2? Mm-hmm. And they were pulling in 600,000, then I think I could be like, well, what's the point? You know? Yeah. But the fact that they have almost double.
Right.
They have double. But again, the WWE has been around for 50 years. Right. And in the incarnation we know, at least 40.
So next week, I want to go into I want to take some time on some numbers. I want to look at the ratings, because we've talked about, what did they used to look like? What do they look like now? And I want to look also at the last of the best of 2021, if you will. Is I want to look at what the best shows had to offer and what the worst shows
Are we going to look at the highest rated show and the lowest rated show?
Yes. I've already pulled those numbers.
Okay, good.
I just haven't pulled what was on that show.
So I like at the top of the show, we are previewing what we're going to do next week. You should save that for the end of the show.
But we're also talking about this now. So
yeah, okay. All right. I guess it all ties in together. The question that
most people only watch for about 10 minutes and they tune out.
Okay. Well,
or they tune in at the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
don't worry, we'll plug this again.
It's like watching us is like watching basketball. You just tune in for the last 40 seconds and you get everything that you need, right?
All right.
So let me ask you a little fun question, and I might be wrong. I apologize if I am. Do you know what the highest rated segment for, I believe, professional wrestling... Well, do you know what the highest rated show for professional wrestling is and the highest rated segment?
No.
If I remember correctly, it's the highest rated show was back in the 80s, which was the Saturday Night Main Event, where they pulled, 27 million views or something stupid like that from back in the day.
I still have a bunch of those taped on beta.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, though, the highest rated segment, I believe, in WWE history was This Is Your Life with Mankind and The Rock and all of that. And I believe that because I think that pulled in a 10.
So, speaking of segments and stuff like that, I was thinking it was going to be the that'll put butts in seats moment.
No, that had the highest drop-off to tune-in rating in wrestling history, if I remember correctly.
And I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, for a Christmas present...
Christmas just passed.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, this is coming up next year.
Well, maybe. For Christmas, I ordered you a copy of Butts and Seats, the Tony Schiavone comic book graphic novel.
Oh, cool.
I'm still waiting for it to show up at the store. So I ordered one for you.
I'd have to go to the store.
It hasn't shown up. I would have gave it to you here on air.
I apologize. I haven't been in the store in like 2 months.
Yeah, I know. I've seen your file.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that right now.
So, all right. So ratings. It's interesting because remember, Raw is the A show. Not anymore.
Yep. I
mean, SmackDown's doing 500,000 better. All right. Day one.
Day one, or what I'm calling SSDD. Same shit, different day.
So, before we look at, we're going to show you the matches and the ratings and stuff like that. But before you do that, Dad had a very interesting theory that I'd like to share. So the show starts, and the first thing that we hear about is that the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, will not be present because of a healthcare issue. COVID. No, they actually said COVID.
Oh, they've said it a lot.
They actually said COVID.
They have said the dreaded C word. Not the one that Joey doesn't like me to say. That
the COVID.
Yeah.
So, he has COVID. Now, a man who has leukemia, COVID, I
4-time leukemia survivor.
100% back and understand and like, nope, that's the right call.
Yeah.
And then, as we're going to talk about later, he was on SmackDown 5 days later.
Well,
So,
okay.
Dad's theory, when he heard that, is he doesn't have COVID. They didn't know what to do.
No. I will disagree
He
with
thinks
that.
he was not really sick.
I will disagree with that. I think what happened is that Roman probably got COVID, but Roman got it well before they announced that he had it.
So, did they just pre-tape all of those other in-ring things? Or backstage things? Because he was on TV. Then they had the SmackDown Best of episode.
Wasn't...
And then they had the... He was on TV 10 days later. He was on TV.
Yeah.
13 days later was the pay-per-view.
Uh-huh.
And then a week later he was... So that's 3 weeks. I was out for 10 days.
Yeah. I mean, I think he got it before they made the announcement, and they were trying to figure out what to do, and I think that they just thought, if we drop it, if we drop it the day of, or wasn't it Friday? Didn't they do it Friday?
They announced during the pre-show.
I thought it was Friday.
No, the rumor sheets all said...
Either way.
Because he didn't show up to any of the house shows.
Yeah. I would say that he probably tested positive before then, and then they decided to drop it the day of the show.
All right, so Ridge Holland gets his nose broken by Ricochet.
Okay.
I
did. So I saw all of this except for the pre-show live because the time they posted everything was not accurate to when the show started, so I missed this, but I did go back and watch this match.
I'm sorry you guys aren't being able to see it if you're not. I'm working on how to make it all work.
This was...
I thought it was a decent match.
It was alright, but it was a bunch of people that nobody cares about doing stuff that nobody cares about because they pretty much killed all of 4 of these guys.
I care about 3 of these people very much. I think 3 of these people are very good wrestlers. And
yeah, but Ridge Holland didn't even get his own entrance music in his debut match, which he lost in 2 minutes. Cesaro, who was your top babyface of the company, is now on a pre-show. Again, Cesaro has been neutered and sent back down to where they feel that he needs to be. Ricochet, Superman, it's never going to happen. Ever, ever, ever. Nothing is ever going to happen for Ricochet. And Sheamus is just collecting a paycheck.
Oh, yeah, and it's obvious he's collecting a paycheck.
They turned him into a drunk, stereotype leprechaun man.
Can you do me a favor real quick?
Yeah,
grab that pen over there.
You want a pen? Yes.
Right. Because we're gonna actually write down and track what we thought of wrestling pay-per-views. So when we do our end of year show, we're gonna actually
is this gonna be like the draft that?
No.
Okay.
No, this will actually be this.
All right, so you're gonna write it on the piece of paper that we throw away every week, right?
No.
Don't mess up your signed pictures and stuff. To make sure you don't go through it. These wonderful signed Impact photos that he has here of these wonderful wrestlers. Matt Cardona and his beautiful wife are back here. Sorry, day 1 sucked. I'm really just, I'm padding a little bit. Anyway, moving on. Ridge Holland got his nose broke because they did a flippy flip move and Ricochet landed right on his face, and it reminded me of when, what's his name? Paul London landed on Shane Helm's face and broke his face, and then they still had him get put in the crippler crossface by Chris Benoit, and it shattered his nose again.
So, 2.5 stars.
2.
I mean, how about you?
Yeah,
right.
Nothing. A fine opener.
Okay, so then we have
the actual start of the show.
The actual start of the show. So that we get the pyro and I know that none of you guys can see the screen. I can see that you just have this big white blur, and you at some point you're expecting to hear "Come to the light," in a creepy little girl voice.
Come to the light, Caroline.
So again, I'm working on it. So we have the
I'm
Usos.
looking at you.
We have the Usos versus King Woods and Sir Kofi Kingston, the Knight amongst Knights. This was not to be confused with the SmackDown match.
No.
We'll talk. Oh,
We'll get there in a
God.
second for this. Again, same shit, different day. How many times have we seen Woods and the New Day and Kofi against, as I make sure to say, the Bloodline, as Michael Cole mentions in every fifth word whenever they're wrestling together. I see this got 4 stars. I don't see how this got above 2.5.
I was going to say 2.5 also.
This was a pretty...
They've had much better.
It was very athletic, but this was a basic match. This was a very basic match, and it did go long.
17 minutes.
It was a fairly long opener for it, but I didn't really... Yeah, I didn't care. I didn't care about this match. I've seen it for 7 months now.
You're going to notice a trend. Every one of these matches went long because they had a whole wrestling match
yes.
they had to cover up for.
Which I made the comment of when we sat down and watched, because I noticed guys were getting a lot more time than what I thought they were for matches and where things were kind of placed at. And I said, I bet this is because Roman and Brock were going to go 25 minutes or so, and they got to figure out how to do something with the rest of the show, which they also decided to add in a lot of commercials.
And a lot of promos and a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but it wasn't like they did backstage stuff. No, they had like pre-filmed like the life of the history of the advertisement of playing in this lot. So that's kind of what this consisted of. I don't really have a lot to say about the Bloodline versus the New Day, the King Day, the British Day, whatever.
And the match that I honestly think should have been on the pre-show, Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss, because nobody cares.
Now, I want to pause this just for 2 seconds.
Nobody cares about this.
One, I want to talk about, I did not care about this match. And honestly, I think I was kind of tuning this out, and I was like playing with the kid a little bit. And then I was like, this isn't over in 40 seconds. I was like, okay, this is because we don't have a match at the end of the night, right? And I was watching it, and I remember I kind of stopped. I sat down, I was like, holy crap, Madcap Moss is like really good.
Yeah.
I was like, he is surprisingly very, very good.
And a lot more agile.
And I'm sure Madcap Moss goes by another name on the independent circuit, and I'm just blanking or something like that.
He used to be a football player.
Okay. But honestly, I cannot say that he did not do Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat level match, but what we got out of Madcap Moss was like so much more than what I thought we were going to get. And I was like, this is not bad. Then Drew McIntyre wins. All right, we're going to get to the segment that happens in a minute. But the segment that happens in a minute is because Drew is injured.
Right.
And Drew will be going away, right? He has apparently a very serious neck injury. My question to this is, why would you let him go out there and wrestle Madcap Moss for 10 minutes knowing that he has a bad neck?
Because it was probably scripted to him come out there, get jumped by him and Corbin, and the match actually never start.
I figured the match was literally going to be, he's just going to Claymore him 1, 2, 3 and go home, or Future Shock, or I wouldn't let him do the Claymore because he has to take Impact on his back.
So,
yeah, but overall, they gave this, what, 3? 2.25?
They gave it 3.25. No, 2 and 3 quarters.
2 3/4. This was a 2. You know what? I will say that it wasn't a 3-star match because nothing miraculous happened into it, other than the fact that Madcap Moss really impressed for what he can do, and he caught Drew McIntyre in a crossbody and looked like he was going to drop him and safely positioned him against the ropes to take the weight off of him for a second so then he could pick him back up and slam him. And I went, that was good because, one, he didn't just kill Drew McIntyre, he didn't blow the spot,
right,
and he had enough ring awareness to know, I need to get myself back in control of this 265-pound frame of a human being who's almost twice as tall as me, and save his life.
I said 3. But But yeah. So then we have Randy Orton and Riddle versus... So Rated RKO versus Dawkins and Ford.
They had hip-hop people come out. I have no clue who these people are.
Dad goes, oh, it's the new Bad Bunny.
Basically, yeah. And they got 3 of them this time. Do you know who these guys are?
Never heard of them.
I've never heard of some.
International rap stars.
Keep in mind,
from Atlanta.
Much like Bad Bunny, who is apparently very, very huge and popular and well-known. He was on The Simpsons recently, apparently, and they had a whole Simpsons meets Bad Bunny episode, I guess.
Oh, that's sad.
I don't know who these guys are, and I get it. I'm old, I'm white, I'm lame, but...
Their music didn't sound good that I heard.
I didn't hear anything that was impressive
So,
by them.
do you believe that him and Randy, do you believe they're tight?
I was thinking that. I was like,
Is Randy a hip-hop guy?
Randy's from the age where, because Randy's from what, like Tennessee or something?
Right, or do they just, does he just buy weed from them at the end of the show?
I mean, maybe, and, I don't know, because I was like, Randy is from the demographic of, that
he's our age.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying from that, when rap became cool for white guys.
Right.
Especially, like, young, like 20-year-old white guys at that point, like 2000-ish or so.
Like, I'm super excited about the Super Bowl because it's going to be a great Super Bowl show.
Yeah.
Although the person's going to be hitting the dump button
a lot.
There's going to be, so we're not even actually here at a halftime show.
But I was like, I don't know, maybe Randy could be a hip-hop fan.
Maybe
he is.
That's all I kept thinking about during this
whole
whole match.
Unfortunately, you see white guy with skull tattoos and everything, and you kind of just go, well, Randy probably listens to like
your music,
rock. I don't think Randy wouldn't listen to my stuff. I think Randy would probably listen to rock, like AC/DC or something like that. He'd listen to something like that. Maybe like New School, like maybe I could see Randy listening to like Seether, or
maybe some Limp Bizkit.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Randy is like hardcore hip hop, like he's like deep, like mob deep into hip hop. I don't know. If anybody knows Randy Orton personally and knows what's on his playlist, let us know what music Randy Orton listens to when he goes to work out in the gym. By the way, they beat the Street Profits. Everybody hugged and embraced at the end of it. This was a fine match.
It was a face versus face match. Nothing, because
nothing major. Nobody flipped. Nobody did something they weren't supposed to do. Honestly, I thought because they've let Montez grow his hair and he's growing out the beard, right?
Right.
And they've changed from the red outfits to the black outfits. And I thought, and if you notice, he was being way, way more aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
In the Mysterio's match on the previous Monday. And he did the thing where he, like, flicked his tongue at Ray when he was beating up Dominic Mysterio and all this stuff. I thought this would be the match because they had the celebrities come down, that they were going to lose, kind of have like a, kind of shucks. Well, the celebrities were going to kind of shun them and celebrate with the champions, and I thought that the Street Profits were going to turn heel in this match. Did you get that feeling?
I didn't get that feeling, but I did notice that they gave Montez a lot more things to do, and I was like, I didn't realize he was so athletic, and like he was doing some moves that usually his brother does.
See, that's why I thought. What are you talking about, Dawkins?
Which was the bigger guy?
That's Dawkins.
Okay, sorry. Dawkins was doing things.
Yes, Dawkins.
Dawkins
was doing a lot, but they've given Montez a lot because I think they're gonna. I think they want to break Montez off on his own. But they don't know how to do it yet. And I thought this would have been a great time for them is to either have him or both of them flip heel at this point. Because Raw, since we've just lost AJ and Omos, we don't really have a lot of heel tag teams on the show.
We don't have a lot of heels, period.
Yeah. Who's the other heels?
The
Dirty Dogs.
The Dirty Dogs.
That's it, right?
Yes.
So everybody else is a face because I'm not counting... I'm not counting the Hurt Business because they're not really a team anymore.
Right, and the other one would be the Hispanic guys.
I mean, I guess
Mulios.
Ridge Holland and Sheamus are on Raw now, right?
Sure.
But I haven't seen them in months really in a major program.
So anyway, Dawkins was doing a lot more athletic things that I saw, and I think that Montez is going to get hit by an airplane very soon because that dude touched the lights on that jump.
Oh yeah, Montez is so good. I really hope that this year will be his year to break out.
So 3.25. I gave it just a standard 3.
I'd say 3. I mean, yeah.
All right, Edge versus The Miz for 20 minutes.
This sucked. This sucked so much. It was long. It was boring. There was a lot of holds.
There was a lot
holding.
of miss.
There was a lot of stuff that just didn't jive right.
There were a few misses, but the worst miss of all was Beth Phoenix standing on the ramp for 2 minutes waiting for her music to hit.
Yep.
While all the crowd is pointing at her and chanting, and she's just like, and worse than that was her hairdo.
You didn't like
the mohawk from
I thought her like
the Running Man, or
well, she's essentially Beth because she's the Glamazon. She's like his Viking shield maiden is what she is now, because she has a very traditional, braided down on the side back kind of mohawk that we've seen a lot in Vikings or Assassin's Creed.
Because remember, he was on the show Vikings once.
Yes, so she's got a very shield maideness kind of haircut going on with
Best
her.
part of this match was Edge's intro.
Yeah, Edge's brood entrance was cool, and he looks awesome when he does it. But yeah, this match kind of sucked.
2 3/4.
2-star match. This was a 2-star match.
I'm gonna give it 2.5.
And also they weren't close enough to the ropes when Maurice was supposed to grab Miz's foot and put it on the rope, so he had to slide closer to have her put his foot on the rope. Yeah, this is not a good match.
Speaking of misses in matches, let's talk about Becky and Liv completely missing each other multiple times, and then Becky screwing up the finish.
Yeah, Becky screwed up the finish. So the only thing, there's 2 things that you need to take away from. Honestly, I didn't think they missed as much as probably what you're saying. I thought that they looked very good. I thought that they worked out the kinks from the first pay-per-view match that they did. The 2 things to take away from this is that the wrong guy won, because the crowd was very, very much behind Liv Morgan this entire match. Liv Morgan pulled off a bunch of cool moves in this match.
2 out of her 3 kicks missed. Becky's, 2 of Becky's hits missed.
But then the ending of the match is supposed to see, and you can see it in the clip, Becky is supposed to put her feet on the bottom rope to win the match. They weren't close enough, and you see Becky kicking her heels, reaching, trying to get to the bottom rope at the 2 count, and the ref also was in position and already counting 2 before Becky could even try and kick her feet up onto the ropes. So I'm guessing what happened is they were told, hey, we need you to stretch, wait for your cue, and then the ref came in and said, 30 seconds, go home. And they were just like, oh, shoot, how do we go home? And that was a big problem with this. They gave this 3 1/4. 3 1/4. I will give this, would you say 3?
I gave it 3. I've already done my rankings.
I'd say 3.
Okay.
I thought this was 3 because the crowd was hot. They were behind Liv. Liv got some cool spots to shine. Becky was in her heel character. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go down to 2.5 just because. Yeah, I'm gonna say 2.5 just because the finish got botched really badly.
You know what? Yeah, I actually, with all the misses that I just complained about.
Yeah, I'll have to bump it down a bit.
All right.
Main event: Brock Lesnar has been inserted into the match for the championship. We now go from a fatal 4-way to a fatal 5-way. I believe that not only is it in Brock's contract that he only has to appear for X amount of dates, I believe he also only has to appear for X amount of time. I believe that Brock Lesnar has it in his contract that he will do no more than 12 minutes.
I also believe that Brock Lesnar has done more in the last 2 months than he's done in the last 5 years.
The other side thing to that is this is the best work that Brock Lesnar has done in 10 years. Next to when he first came back,
which I never
against
saw.
John Cena.
And I know. Oh, when we watched Suplex City get born?
Well, no.
On your couch?
Yes. When they did Suplex City and when they did the Extreme Rules match, and Brock first came back and he didn't have Heyman with him yet.
Okay.
And then Heyman came along very closely afterwards because have you heard that story that Heyman said?
No.
So I'm using Brock's words here. They bring him back and Heyman's not supposed to be with him. They're like, you're just going to be Brock. And Brock goes out there for a couple weeks and it's like, guys, this isn't working. They're like, I have to have a mouthpiece. So he calls Paul up and he's like, hey, Paul, I'm trying to get you to come back and be my mouthpiece. And Paul's like, I don't really know about that. And Brock's exact words were, and I quote from Paul Heyman, I need my Jew. And he's like, come on, man, I need you. And Paul, of
You
course,
sure he
is
didn't
like,
just say, I need you?
No. He's like, you know I need my Jew. You got to come back. And he's like, all right. So then Paul agrees to come back, and then like a week or two later, he's back with Brock Lesnar, and he has been since. Brock is doing his best work.
Yes.
He took his light talkingness and has turned that into a very good thing. He's funny.
Brock as a face is weird.
Brock as a face is... Have you seen I apologize to digress because we skipped through memes, but did you see the picture of people like, you know, the unsuspecting thing of like what 2021 to 2022 has, and then it's like, Brock Lesnar likes people, and it shows him at day one, like, hugging guys, and, like, giving guys like thumbs up,
I didn't see that
taking
meme.
pictures with people, and apparently he like had dinner with Wayne Gretzky earlier that night.
Right.
And Wayne Gretzky's like, Brock is the nicest guy.
Right. And Drew came out and said, I can finally tell people this is a cool dude.
That Brock's so cool. Anyway, recap the match real quick. I started watching this very intently because I need to know what they were going to do since Brock Lesnar has been inserted into the match, and I thought much like NXT, I was not sad that Brock won. But I didn't want Brock to win.
Right.
Because I thought the way that they set this up was very good if they were finally, which it looks like we're going to get, Brock versus Bobby.
Right.
Bobby always waylaid Brock from the side, from behind, laid him out, and I thought that was going to be the story of the match. Was everybody was going to go after Brock. Big E was going to then come in and clear house after Brock had been put down. Big E and
Brock...
Which
is what happened!
Yes, Big E and Brock were not going to go too hard, right? And then I thought what would happen is that I thought Big E would overcome. Or, if Brock won, I did not think what happened the next night on Monday was going to happen. The only downside I have with this is that the ending of the match sees this person get laid out, to this person get laid out, to Brock lays a guy out, to Big E lays a guy out, to then Big E grabs Brock to do the big in. Lesnar gets out, he puts him in the F5 one time, no kick out because nobody kicks out of the F5, and Brock beats Big E. That to me kills Big E. If anything, he should have laid out Owens or Rollins, and Rollins could have then, you know, they could have had the argument the next night of, hey, where were you at? Oh, what? You're the guy who lost. You're the guy who got the pin. Now it's on Brock. How the hell are we going to get the title off Brock?
Right.
Everything about this, except for the length of the match, which again, see my earlier comment that Brock can't go longer than 15 minutes, and Big E getting pinned, was good. Those are the only two things, I think.
So I thought the match was amazing. I thought the pacing, the timing of having 5 people was kind of like that NXT 5-way. It worked. Nobody
didn't have something to do.
And when people were gone for long periods of time, it made sense.
You didn't see the shot that we're going to talk about on Monday night where somebody gets hit and you literally see them like outside against the barrier watching the match to know when they have to come in and do it. So they shot this very well. I assume they probably... I don't know if the guys did this. I don't know if they got somebody like Helms, because, you know, obviously they don't have Pat anymore. I assume somebody came in and earlier in the day they went, what are we going to do? And somebody set it up and said, this is what we're going to do. This guy has to go here. This guy has to do this. Rollins and Owens, you have to constantly be double teaming Brock. Brock, when you're double teaming and you finally bump them guys off, Lashley, you come around the corner and hit him somehow.
Right.
And Lashley, as soon as you're done doing your thing, Big E, you get in there and clean house. And just do it again. Rinse, cycle, repeat. Do it again and again and again until we get to our finish.
I thought it was going to end with Big E pinning Rollins or
it seemed like the obvious people.
Right. Because I felt like when Brock and Lashley were laid out in the Timekeepers era, I'm like, that is perfect.
Yeah.
Now we get these two going forward, or he goes back to SmackDown, whatever the case might be.
Yes.
But this makes sense. Brock didn't win. Brock did not lose.
Yes.
Brock was waylaid.
Even then, Brock didn't get the pinfall. I could have even seen them do something as simple as a brawl. Because I guess there's one other thing I want to talk about this match. And I know we said we would keep day one short, so maybe we'll wrap
we were
this
actually
up.
Right on time.
The fact that what it is the thought. I'm keeping it away, and then I pull the thought into my head real quick.
Are we doing the way?
We're not supposed to touch, man.
Oh.
You don't touch in the Devil's Three-Way. No eye contact.
But this is the way. We're
This
doing
is
the
way.
Johnny Grade.
Oh, yeah. I know. This is the way.
The way is gone.
Yes. The way no longer works there. You just had your champion on the other show test positive for COVID. You lost the main event because of that. You lost what you're calling the main reason that SmackDown has had the best ratings out of any show with Brock and Roman. Why did you just let 5 of your top baby faces and heels wander into the crowd and have crowd brawling?
Yeah.
Why did you let Ken Owens go through the crowd, climb up onto a railing over top of an entryway, and do a dive off onto the guys?
Why did you allow Seth Rollins, who has a person trying to kill him?
Yes. Why did you allow someone who got back into the arena that they just got kicked out of? Why did you let them go out into the crowd? That kind of gave me a little bit of a rub, and I know I'm being like super sensitive on things, but it did a little bit. The other thing with that is while they were crowd brawling, I thought that's where Brock's going to get isolated, and then the winning thing is going to happen in the ring to where they could easily say Brock got isolated at the merchandise booth fighting Bobby Lashley. Big E beat the two schmoes, right? I thought that would have been good. But as I say all of this in a retrospect hindsight, having Brock Lesnar win the championship does create a lot of interesting things because we're going to jump forward into the next week now.
Okay, so they gave it 3. Uncle Dave gave it 3 3/4. I gave it 4. I gave it a 4. It had everything I wanted in a match. It told a good story. I didn't like the ending, but you don't have to like the ending to appreciate the good. You don't have to like the ending to appreciate what was a good match.
I'll give it 4, just because 5 big powerhouse guys
Worked
and
well.
2 guys who are technically sound but also big works. Yeah.
And then this went around. I don't know if this is photoshopped or not, but supposedly this was found around the SmackDown, or the arena that SmackDown was taped at the next.
As far as I understand, this is real.
Right. And it says WWE Championship Big E.
Yes, defeats.
With a picture of Brock Lesnar.
Yes, as I understand it, this was real. Once again, we have a show that got thrown out to a point, but
everything else.
Look at this.
Everything else is right.
Yes. Big E was supposed to win.
And it does. He kind of looks like Braun Strowman right there.
Now, well, the other question with that is, does that mean Brock was supposed to beat Roman? Is that why Brock's face got accidentally inserted into the wrong reveal here?
We'll never know.
We'll know, because somebody's going to do a shoot interview.
Right.
Well, are we doing NXT or are we doing Raw?
No, we're just going to talk about the death of NXT. We're going to have a moment of silence for NXT.
We need a 10 bell.
Oh, that would have been a good idea.
See, this is why you got to talk to me for post-production right now. Ding. Ding.
All right.
Ding.
So, NXT, their NXT Arrival debuted on February 27th, 2014. In 2017, it made its way to USA. And on September 14th, 2021, 2.0 started. That was the death of NXT.
Black and Gold is dead.
And they even made Braun Breaker kick the X.
We will.
And how can we? And remember, and I was going to pull the audio up, but I ran out of time. I was like, "Will NXT come back?" And we both said yes on our last of the year show. We both said it's got to. And then this happened. Road Dogg reacts to his WWE release. Samoa Joe reacts to his WWE release. William Regal reacts to his WWE. What's not here is the entire production crew, minus one person who then got released the very next day. Anybody, the entire staff that Triple H hired to run NXT have all been fired now.
The only people who have jobs at NXT right now is Shawn Michaels, I think. I think Shawn Michaels as a consultant is the only one who's still employed.
And as of 2 days ago, NXT morale is described as bottom of the barrel. So let's look at. So Ciampa, as we're going to discuss, Ciampa lost his belt.
Yes.
Anybody who's been in, the only people that have been with with NXT for any length of time right now. We'll see Dexter Lumis. I haven't seen in a while.
Lumis was there a couple weeks ago, but he's been basically sidelined and beat up and had his hand crushed by that. So he's been neutered.
MSK, they're going to get. He's young. They're young enough in the demographic they're looking for.
Yeah. Well, we can't say MSK's been there long. They've only been there since October.
They've been here a year. Have they been
here a year? Well, yeah, because they won the Dusty Classic.
Right.
Okay.
So, but nobody else that we used to rant and rave about are there anymore.
Toothless Timmy is still employed, but I haven't seen him. I don't know what's wrong with him. They've revealed nothing.
The William Regal thing,
William Regal had been with the company for, I believe, 22 years.
And he has said, I have nothing but nice things to say.
Well, of course he's not. He had to stick his face in Vince McMahon's butthole.
But he also appreciated what he was given. And I applaud him for that.
Nose full of shit. Because I assume Vince probably did not wipe before he went out there.
So, does Road Dogg show up at AEW and realign himself?
Well, the thing about Road Dogg is this.
He's not a good wrestler?
Okay, so...
We've talked about that in the past.
Armstrong is a wrestling name dynasty. And the Armstrongs have always been around. They've been around for a long time. And he has had his problems up and down with substance abuse and, quality of, and all kinds of other things with him. Does he come back to AEW? The other thing with that is AEW cannot hire everybody. They can't hire everyone.
We're going to talk about that during storylines.
Now, could Road Dogg have a place there? Yes. Is Road Dogg needed there? No. And to be perfectly honest, Road Dogg was given the job in NXT because he got his shit together and Hunter gave him a job backstage to help out.
I think he should go to Impact and help the talent.
He's been in Impact.
I know, but as a coach.
I honestly don't know what his move would be. There are some people, unfortunately, and I'll even throw Regal in this section, maybe Joe to a certain point.
Regal doesn't
Some people just need to not be in wrestling anymore.
Regal's done. Regal can be done.
Regal
seems like the kind of guy who took his money, did smart things with it.
Yeah, but the question I have is that, let's say with Armstrong, with Regal, with Joe, what is their other background credentials that could help a promotion in some way? Because you can't just be, you were on TV once for a while, and, you had a job as a backstage producer or something, okay, whatever, right? What other credentials do they have? Does Regal have some type of, accounting, mathematic degree? Because, let's face it, the whole reason they hired Leo Rush was because he's a bookkeeper, I should say. He's a bookkeeper. AEW, and I shared this, and I don't know if you have this slide in here. For the most part, AEW's infrastructure, I assume on a monetary side, is very, very well contained and handled and set up perfectly because of Tony's billionaire father.
Yes.
Okay. But their internal is basically what? Tony, what's his name? Zai or whatever. I can't remember his name. I apologize. We'll get to it in a minute.
Oh, yeah, I have it.
QT Marshall and the Nightmare Factory is their training grounds.
Right.
Megazord. Mega Powers. Shit, what's his name? Whatever, moving on. But that's the thing that's interesting. Mega. That's an interesting thing for AEW of, could they use, and they said they don't want to do an on-screen enforcer.
Right.
You know, they don't need that. And Tony Khan, for the most part, is very, very rarely shown on television.
Yes.
So
it's usually after the show's over and he talks to the crowd.
But I mean, on the show, he's been seen in the background once or twice. He's got involved when Omega's gone way too far off the rails, and Omega's like, Tony, get out here and do something about this. And Tony walks out from the back like, what, or Cody or something, or an injury. But
he's definitely not Vince McMahoning it.
He's not Vince McMahoning it, So they don't need an on-screen intimidation presence. So there goes Road Dogg, Samoa Joe, and William Regal for space time in the company. Does their training and writing and whatever give them a position in the company where they could be needed for that position to be created for them? Or is it just time for all these guys to hope that you saved your money and go away?
I think that
Samoa Joe, from what I understand, is very highly being looked at from other companies. And I don't blame you, because why wouldn't you hire Samoa Joe? The other comma to this that I apologize. I haven't stopped yet. I keep going on. But Samoa Joe, the reason we didn't see Samoa Joe for a long time, he was doing the voice of King Shark for Suicide Squad for the video game.
Huh.
Samoa Joe is the voice of King Shark in the Suicide Squad versus the Justice League video game that's coming out in this year, I believe.
Right? I know that.
So that's why Joe had been around for a while, because he'd been recording dialogue for 2 years.
Well, I thought he was injured again, is what we all read.
Well, he had an injury, but that's one of the reasons.
So
Joe could have outside equity coming to him.
So Regal. So all three of these people, I think Regal could show up in NWA with Corgan. I think. I could see that. I could see him being an on-screen. I mean, he did amazing as the commissioner of.
No, and that's the thing. Regal as the commissioner is great. He's got a good talker. He's got a wealth of knowledge. He's got a very credible background.
I think Samoa Joe, if MLW could get off the ground, he could go there and...
Does Ring of Honor, if they're restructured, go after Samoa Joe and say, hey, you're a Ring of Honor original, come back?
I think he's more likely to end up in Impact that way and feud with Big Cass and...
Maybe.
But, I mean, I don't necessarily need to see Samoa Joe versus Moose again. I've seen it.
No, yeah.
And Road Dogg, I think he gets a job in the backstage somewhere. Or he just shows up once in a while at AEW for like a little... Because remember, they did say AEW has an open contract for 2022. You can show up for 1 day, you can show up for 2 days, you can show up for 2 months.
Yes, which we'll talk about AEW contracting in a second.
All right, so it's funny you should say enforcer. So one of the things that Kevin alluded to is
Anderson?
I have recently started following MJF on Facebook. His Facebook page is hilarious.
Well, yeah.
He is funny as hell. That's where I got the whole vaginal dryness one.
Oh, I know, yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. There's my meme.
That's funny.
This is from the Green Arrow TV show on CW. But anyway. MJ pushing a new security employee against the wall in around 3 months' time.
Yeah.
He actually wrote this on his Facebook. How many different jobs have you had over there, Joe? And you couldn't manage to keep any of them? I have a vacancy coming up soon. See details below. Does that give away what's going to happen with him and Wardlow soon?
I believe maybe.
Are we finally going to have... I mean, because there's some... The seeds that were planted 2 years ago are going...
They're starting to come to fruit, yes.
Because he actually said on one of the shows, like, Wardlow, just so you know, when you win that, it's in your contract that you give all rights and matches up to me for championship. And Wardlow looked really pissed off. And
yes, so that's interesting. Yes. So does that mean Joe to AEW?
No, but it's just funny.
I think Wardlow and Joe worked before together. I don't know, or maybe he's just MJF is the ultimate troll.
Right? No, he is. And Joe ain't working for MJF no matter how much money.
I mean, Shawn Michaels flipped Vince's salad because he needed money.
Big Swole is all elite. Not anymore.
Okay, so this
go quietly into the night, maybe.
Is this the big part of the show?
This is a part. I have some dialogue that I'm going to go ahead and read.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna let you take the stick, and then I'm gonna fire off in a minute because I have
thoughts.
I'm curious to see where your thoughts are at, vice what I'm going to say.
Okay, perfect. So I did not put this all up on the screen because I didn't want you guys to hurt yourself. Over the past 3 weeks ago, Big Swole put out the following statement. Over the past couple of months, my life has taken on a mantra: grow, learn, change. Dealing with the shadow work took strength I didn't know I had. I thank God for loving my family because they got me through some of the roughest months of my life. But I realized the real test is application. So I took a leap, and after speaking with Tony Khan, we've decided to not renew my AEW contract. This was a hard decision, but I needed one. I am grateful for their understanding that we could mutually come to this agreement. I've enjoyed my time with AEW and wish them the best. I appreciate their love and welcome me into the family. Today is the last day, and as bittersweet as it is, I'm proud to say that I've lived my dreams with making a difference. That is Swole mentality.
By the way, her husband is Cedric Alexander.
18 hours later.
Was it 18 hours?
At most. It was not more than 2 days.
I thought it was a little bit longer because her interview hadn't come out yet.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes, you can fact check me. I don't mind. I don't beat around the bush. When it comes to diversity in my people, there is no representation, truly. And when there is, it doesn't come across in the black community as genuine. At all. Now.
Genuine or genuine? Like genuine, like...
Who's...
Like genuine, baby?
Yeah. Speaking of which, did you know Cameo is going to be at the casino in Poulsbo?
Who the hell is Cameo?
Google it. You youngin'. So, I'm reading a quote from her. These are not my thoughts. These are her thoughts. These are not his thoughts. I don't know why everyone is so afraid to accept or to say it, but it's not a good look. What happens is when you have this wonderful company that treat people like family, but there's nobody that looks like me that is represented at the top and in the room with them. They are not helping to necessarily influence decisions, but to explain why certain slang and certain words shouldn't be said.
Oh, the New York City players. Okay.
There is no one else who can explain our culture and experience except for us. I knew something was up with my daughter, who loves watching wrestling. She would watch AEW all the time and seldom watch WWE. She's not a fan unless her dad, Cedric Alexander, was on TV, which stopped happening after they botched the Hurt Business. Agree?
Well, hold on. Get her thought out first.
She said, Mommy, there's nobody that looks like me on AEW. There's nobody that looks like Daddy. And when she started watching WWE because she saw Bianca and Big E, she saw herself. It's 2021. Why are people saying Why are people saying it'll take 3 years for AEW to have a black champ? This is a scripted sport. It should not take that long. If you've been watching WWE for 50 plus years, you know that's what not to do. With promises you've made to diverse, I want to see not just with blacks people. I would love to see a Latino or Hispanic or more Asians. I feel like Asians and Indians do not get the love. They just don't. It's just a big gap. I hate the fact that I turn on TV and it's the same stuff over and over again. Hopefully they will get the message. Me leaving honestly was not bad. It was not bad blood between TK and I. I just don't like my peace being disturbed. I don't like certain things and other things that I will take to my grave. The diversity, that's what matters. End quote from her. And then I have responses.
Okay.
And then I have my own thoughts.
Okay.
TK responds. Tony Khan.
This is
not a great response. Cornette did a great job with this one.
So read his response, and I'm going to just chime in with the...
Okay.
Okay.
His response on Twitter. The top 2 at AEW execs are Brown, me and Mega. Jade, Bowens, Caster, Dante, Nyla, Isaiah, and Mark Queen have all won TV on this month. The TBS title tournament has been very deserved. I let Swole contracts expire as I felt her wrestling wasn't that good. Hashtag Rampage Street Fight tonight. So I would have left out the commercial.
The plug. You would have left out the plug. The problem with that statement, how he started off on the defense.
Yes. He is a child.
Tony Khan does get, anytime you go after him, I mean, I've gone after him, but he doesn't know who I am, but anytime you go after TK, as everyone calls him, he gets very defensive.
Yes.
Very, very defensive. Unfortunately, though, his defense is when the white guy says, I'm not racist, I have a lot of black friends.
Okay. I can see that interpretation.
I can see that's how it came off. That's what
especially when you throw in there hashtag Rampage Street Fight tonight.
Probably shouldn't have plugged the show.
You know, I have a lot of black friends. Hashtag go buy my Black Friends album.
Probably should have said something more along the lines of, I'm the reason I let her contract lapse was because I didn't feel her talent was up to the place we needed it to be.
As far as diversity
goes, I feel that we have a very diverse roster and we're always building, and I'm sad to hear that these are her comments behind her, her wanting to leave. Be like, maybe even then say, if you want, tune in tonight, show tonight or something like that, and like a plug post underneath of it. I don't think he should have started off with, hey, fuck you. Look at all these other colored people we have on the screen, or ethnic people, or whatever people. I also noticed he didn't go super far into saying, well, we also have the first transgender athlete signed under.
Nyla.
Oh, he did say Nyla. Okay, I thought he only mentioned...
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. He also didn't... But he did miss... what's Joey Janela's old tag team partner?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sonny Kiss.
Sonny Kiss, yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah.
So then
bad response for Tony Khan to go on the super defensive about that, and not because you're being attacked for lack of diversity from someone who is going back on the statements they made, but just really bad to be like, well, that's not true. Look at all of these things that I've done for these people.
So I did not include all of Leo Rush's comments because Leo Rush said do better, and then he swore a bunch, and then he said just got out of a conference with TK. We're on the same page.
Yes,
because he's already been fired enough times.
Leo Rush, essentially, as Joey summed up very well, he went on this extremely long tirade to a point. Again, he said somewhat of what I said of, maybe not a good idea to be like, well, look at my track record for all I've done for these hopeless minorities, and the owners of the companies are as he said, brown people. But
Leo Rush is just as bad as Tony Khan in getting
And Leo Rush went off on this huge thing about how all of this stuff, and then what was it like? That one was, I think, 16 hours later. He was like, "We're all good, bro," because I have a feeling somebody went, "Come here." Be like,
remember how you got fired
who do you have left to work with?
Remember when you got fired from Ring of Honor? Remember when you got fired from NXT? Remember when you got fired from Impact?
The boss here, guy. So everything's great here at AEW. We're super diverse.
So speaking of back in the boss, Tay Conte, Sammy Guevara's new girlfriend. As y'all know, I'm Latina, and I know the struggles. I have an accent, and cutting promos on national TV is not something you see normally. Very true. But AEW and TK make me very comfortable and not ashamed of doing it. The hashtag Taylor versus Bunny and Penelope started almost a year ago, and it ends tonight. Watch out.
Again, plugging your own stuff in the midst of controversy might not be the best idea.
Powerhouse Hobbs. I've been featured in some, and I will say, if we're going to talk about diversity and we're going to talk about
I have
seeing somebody who looks like mommy and daddy,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go Powerhouse Hobbs, probably the most like Mommy and Daddy in the company.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, because, I mean, we're
not just saying like he's the darkest. I'm just saying like
no, we're not talking about skin tone. We're talking about physicality, skin tone, presentation, everything about Powerhouse Hobbs and what Big Swole said when she referenced Big E.
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Okay, yes.
Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill. But anyway, I've been featured in some heavy-ass spots since signing with AEW as well as other minorities. Now, TK has put me in the spots at the right time that meant something. Punk, Christian Cage, Brian Cage, and Hangman, and especially running in and saving Max. This company has been there since the passing of my mother. Cody and QT played a tremendous part in getting me signed. Lastly, if you have an issue with someone, pick up the damn phone.
Okay.
Now,
all right. I mean, say your piece.
And finally, from the Facebook, MJF.
Oh, God, no. Oh, no. Did he... I have not seen what Maxwell has said.
Yes, I purposely did not put this on the page.
Okay.
AEW couldn't be more diverse if they've tried. Sounds like sour grapes to me. And as for little Lionel, you have been with the company for 5 minutes. Remember, you are in AEW now, not WWE. If you don't have to vent on Twitter like some oversized baby to get a reaction, pick up the phone. It's not Dinosaur Vince you're trying to get in contact with. But you do have a tendency to burn every bridge in all the companies you work for. You could always go rest. You could always go and retire again.
I wonder if someone, namely MJF again, picked up Mr. Leo Rush by the throat and said, "Look here, little man.
If you're going to say something smart-ass, here's how you do it."
Well, realistically with that, too, I do think one of the most interesting things coming from Powerhouse Hobbs and MJF is pick up the phone. None of you motherfuckers should have put any of this on Twitter.
No.
None of you people should have responded. I'm not saying this does not warrant a response for the comments that she made after the comments that she made, because I believe it was 2 weeks. Was it 2 days or 2 weeks after she said she's not there anymore to when she made these comments, when this interview came out? Because she also said a lot in the things in the interview, like Tony Khan likes to show off to the boys by buying out the restaurant and all of their tabs and paying it and all this other stuff. She did make some other comments that I wish that she would have had in there, where she essentially says that she was basically booking the women's division.
Yes, that was a whole other thing.
Because Kenny had, as her statement was, his own stuff going on, so he couldn't be as involved. Because as some of us might remember, or no one knows, Kenny Omega is supposed to be in charge of the women's division.
I did not know that.
Which is why we made the joke that Riho won the championship belt, because she is Kenny Omega's fantasy girl. Which is why she wrestles in a Japanese schoolgirl outfit. She looks like Sailor Moon. In the name of the moon, I will punish you. So, I have something that I want to say on this that is slightly in support of Big Swole to a point. I'm going to start off with the other thing that Tony Khan and other people have echoed. She wasn't good. She was not good at all. She could barely work. She had botches in every single match that she had, and not just one or two. She botched, I guarantee you, 5 moves in every match she did. Very noticeably, very bad. She has no timing. She is very athletically built, but she's not athletically gifted. She couldn't cut a promo. She wasn't very interesting, and unfortunately, for your daughter, I'm sorry that she doesn't see someone who looks like you or her on television as much, because they should have that representation. I agree with you on that. You know, I want to. No, wait. Let me get this. And then I have a parallel I want to talk about just in a second.
Okay. I got a parallel.
Well, actually, correction. I'm going to parallel this, and then I'm going to give a fact, okay? Okay. For the longest time, comic book, right? Especially in the last 10 years or so, the comic book medium and everything talked about it has been a very big thing, and it's a hot button topic, and comics are too diverse, and comics are too political, and blah, 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 and Marvel's recasting all this stuff, and they're making, this white guy black, or they're making this guy gay, or whatever, whatever it is, right? And, for a minute, I am on board. I don't care. It's a fictional character, okay? Mm-hmm. To a point, this is a fictional character. To a point, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, with that, there's obviously real-world things you cannot change about this like you can in a comic book. I liked that they changed all the stuff. Sometimes I didn't always understand it. Sometimes I didn't always agree with it. Sometimes I thought that they didn't take the opportunity to add an alternate version into the comics and just revamped an original version, and sometimes none of that made sense to me because I like my timelines of things to make sense, right? But I did, to a point, take the position of I think things should be more diverse. I think more things should be altered to help people, but I don't understand why they have to alter the old to the new standard. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't they create a new strong character? Mm-hmm. And I believed that for a long time. All right. Okay. Then I had a thought, and it was when they did a change to a major character, and everybody lost their shit. Right? I can't say everybody, but certain ideologies lost their shit about it. Right? And that's when I had this switch in my brain flip, which is what is in not just in for comic books. What is the single most recognizable symbol in the world? I'm talking worldwide.
The bat symbol.
I would say the Superman S. Not talking about popularity of character, but I'm saying that symbol, followed by the Batman logo, followed by the Spider-Man logo, is probably the three most recognizable logos in the world. The Superman S has been used on stuff for people who were like freedom fighters fighting against oppressed regimes in countries that we've never heard of before, right? It's universal is that logo, right? And that I had the switch go where I thought, the ideology of who and what Superman or Spider-Man or Batman is great for something. But why can't Superman be black? And there is a black Superman before we go too far.
Yep.
Because what if it's that little bit extra that allows someone to see themselves in something that they can connect with on a better level?
The Superman shield, also known as the Superman logo, is iconic and the most recognizable.
Single most recognizable. And that was that switch I had when we talk about representation on things of, especially fictional characters to a point. And I'm gonna tie this in. I promise you. We're getting to the tail end of this dog. Is yes, it makes sense. What if someone who is having an issue relating to, or someone who is struggling inside because they're gay and no one else is, and they're trying to find something out there, and they read a comic or watch a movie or read a book or something like that, and they need that little extra to tie them in so that way they can see themselves being presented in a positive light. All right? Mm-hmm. The reason I'm making this statement is she has a point. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. The WWE has 80... What are they at? 87 on the roster now?
Like 12.
90?
12, 13. Maybe.
Okay. I believe I had the number. I think it was like 87 people on the roster, right?
Okay.
Out of those 87 people, 32 are black. Now, I apologize. I'm going to be 100% transparent with everybody out there, not just because that's the color of my skin, but the WWE has photos for everything and a little bio. AEW's does not. They just kind of have photos and listings and stuff for people. I did base a lot of this off of complexion. So I don't know, unless I knew for a fact, because I researched some people, what their ethnicity, tie-in, background, and things like that was. But when we talk about this complexion, it's like 32 people out of like 90 people, okay? Mm-hmm. It's not too bad. It's not too bad, right? And I'm not counting in the other ethnicities like Damian Priest, who's Puerto Rican, or anything like that. I'm just saying her skin tone, what she's trying to talk about when she said, her people, right? No, we're all the same people. I really don't give a fuck. We're all the same people.
You don't have to.
Okay, I know. But hold on. When I looked at AEW, because I thought, man, AEW's got to have way more.
It's like 5.
Do you know how many people are on the roster? 100. They have and I'm talking about men and women. This is a combination. They have 18.
Okay.
18 people out of 100 are someone that she could see her daughter in on television.
Okay.
Now, again, I'm not counting the Hispanic, I'm not counting the Japanese, I'm not counting the other mixed race people, right? She kind of has a point of a problem with diversity, however, not so much this company's name, but I think the business as a whole. And when she does highlight Hispanic and Japanese, Asian, whatever, I'm going to go with Asian as a broad term, they really haven't been featured very heavily, aside from, here's your luchador spot.
I disagree.
Disagree with me.
So,
has the WWE ever had a Asian heavyweight champion? No.
No.
How many years?
Let me.
All right. Do they have?
Let me.
Okay.
Let me. Okay. So, AEW has been in business for 2.5 years. 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
WWE's been in business for 50 years. Okay. So you can't. It's apples and apples. You can't. It's apples and pineapples at this point. It's the same family but a way different fruit. Now, because for the first 40 of the 70 years of Vince McMahon having a black champion or a Hispanic champion, we're like, yeah, right. All the little yahoos in their sheets would take their pitchforks up in the air. So, I truly believe when I watch WWE now, yes, I will say that WWE has less white people on its roster than anything else. Yes, there are a lot of Hispanics. There are a lot of there's 2 Asians. There's some Puerto Ricans. There's some, and we're just talking about Raw and SmackDown. We're not talking about NXT. But you have the Vegas and everything like that. So yes, there is a diverse amount of people on AEW or WWE. I agree. Mm-hmm. But to say that there's not a diversity in AEW is completely off your rocker.
Well, wait a second. I'm not saying that the AEW roster as a whole. Again, I'm only highlighting
hold on.
her comments of people who look like her complexion.
Yes, but that's the problem. That is the problem right there. Because I'm going to get to it.
Okay.
On AEW, there is a transgender woman who was not born a woman who has held the women's championship for a long amount of time.
Yes.
There is an Asian woman who has won the championship and held it for a long time. Granted, it's because she was doing Kenny Omega, but that's a whole other story. You have Sammy Guevara, who holds a championship. You had...
That's because Cody got hurt.
He won it before that. Now, the World Championship? Okay, yes. You've had Kenny Omega, you've had Jon Moxley, and you now have Adam Page.
Well, but that's where you could say they've only been around for 2 years. Powerhouse Hobbs is not ready for that belt.
Right, and I like the fact that we're going back to those days where a guy's not holding a championship for 2 weeks before he gives it over to somebody else.
Yeah.
There's openly gay wrestlers on AEW. They're not openly gay on WWE. You have Sonny Kiss, who... Even JR, and again, no offense to him, JR doesn't know if he should be calling him her or him halfway through the document, because he keeps flipping back and forth, because he hasn't seen Sonny Kiss's Twitter to see what the pronouns are.
Well, I often wonder if that's intentional or not.
Right, you said that because JR is kind of that older school. But there are plenty Hispanic
Not anything against JR. I'm just saying, I'm wondering if that's intentional for JR to not get the pronoun right, because that's...
Right.
The idea of what they're sending forth. I don't know. And
you have Thunder Rosa. You've got Ty Conte. You've got
yes. Okay.
So for her to sit and so now I'm going to pull back that
Okay.
So she doesn't care about diversity. She cares about black representation.
Well, one of the more interesting things about that is she says that
And that's
the
the
people
problem.
in the back and the fans turned on her when she wore the BLM armband the same time Cedric
BS.
did.
BS.
Now,
You know-
I do want to clarify again, because we'll rehash for some people who are dropping in, because it's funny I see a couple eyeballs dropping in and out, so we're losing viewers for this shit. But
BS.
she wasn't good.
You know why?
She wasn't good.
You know why I can say BS? Dante Martin still wears it.
Yes, but
And Dante Martin has been pushed to the moon because
That's-
he deserves it.
that's the thing that I do want to get back to, because I wanted to sum up a little bit of the diversity. I wanted to sum up a little bit of the thoughts on it, and I did want to sum up a little bit of, she's not, in my view, she's not entirely wrong for the hiring of the roster to a certain point, but I'm not saying it that the roster is not diverse, because diversity does not, unfortunately, to steal a bad quote, it's not just a one-way street. It has to go down every road to get there.
Exactly.
And I do believe that, and I know that's not always the right thought to have, because sometimes a lot of the streets get overlooked, and that's part of the problem. We have a spider web of people trying to get onto one highway, essentially. But the thing with that is that for that roster, it's very diverse as a roster, but it is lacking in a little bit of that. Is that something they can easily fix? Yes, they can. Is that something they might choose to fix? Yes. Is it something that wasn't pointed out that they need to work on? Yes. However, though, this was not that person to do that, because she wasn't very good, and she wasn't fired for lack of push. She wasn't fired for diverse reasons. She wasn't fired for anything. She got cut because she wasn't a good wrestler, and then she comes back after the fact and says, well, I quit because I had pride in myself, and there's just no diversity there, and all of my... But that's why I said, you needed to really read that interview that she gave.
Oh, yeah, I did.
She said the things of like, oh, I quit because it was diverse, but I also quit because they weren't listening to my ideas anymore.
Right. No,
And
I
appreciated them for doing this, but I also feel that they were ignoring me because I wore BLM on my fucking jacket one night.
So,
like...
Her
statements are very contradictory of the statement that she made, which again, I think is wrong.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Yes.
Let's say that there's 50 phenomenal black wrestlers out there.
Okay.
Just 50 of them. We're just gonna...
You're talking about in the world?
In the world.
Okay.
In the world, there are 50 phenomenal black wrestlers. I'm making up a number.
Okay.
And apparently 35 of them work for the E.
Mm-hmm.
20 of them work for AEW, or you say 9?
They have 18.
18 work for AEW, and then the rest of them work for Impact. So E bought all of them.
Ooh, that's a...
Okay, not bought.
Ooh.
Okay, the E contracted.
Ooh.
E
I
contracted.
want to step away on that one.
So,
Ooh.
okay, so maybe it's not. They're already working for the best company. All right,
Well-
moving on.
Well, hold on. We still got a minute on this, don't we? We still got, what, 2 minutes on this, I think?
We're actually 15 minutes over this segment.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I apologize.
I didn't think we were going to take half an hour on this.
No, it's just the thing. I guess the thing with that is that
Agreed.
no. I want to add in one extra thought that I don't think she looked at that you brought up just now that is good, and I'm gonna try and I don't know. I'm gonna try and reposition some of the words you used there. Does that just mean that there's just not a lot of
really good,
or that black athletes,
or that are just
that
not
are interested in being a wrestler right now?
There you go.
I mean, the E has Gable Stevenson that they just hired from the Olympics,
Who's doing nothing?
But as
They didn't even show him in the audience when they mentioned him last week.
I'm not saying that there's no other wrestler out there that could get picked up that might need to be featured, and maybe some of the wrestlers they have need to be featured in a better light to a certain point, but I'm trying to really rack my brain here for a minute and think of all the indie talents and promotions and stuff like that for it. Is that a problem with the culture of wrestling? Is it a problem with the product overall, though, that there's just not a lot of people of diverse color who want to be wrestlers?
There's only two top talents I can think of right now that are currently unemployed. And that is her. Oh, wait, I said good. Sorry.
You said top.
So top, sure.
Okay.
Her and Swerve hasn't landed anywhere yet.
I was going to say, I was about to say, what about all of Hit Row?
Yeah, so top. So Hit Row has...
Swerve is doing a YouTube gig where he's doing a podcast with people.
So,
where he's going to have Sammy Guevara on his show.
And Ring of Honor, they just lost... I mean, Ring of Honor had a very...
Well, yeah, they lost Jay Lethal and everything.
No, Jay Lethal's been wrestling in AEW. He's been on AEW Dark.
They lost him as well as all of the other people.
Right. And Grisham is on
That's the
Impact.
other question I have for it is that this was a problem that I saw. And this is something that I saw with her statement as well. It was me.
Mm-hmm.
Me. I don't see representation in me. It was me
mm-hmm.
when it came to it. And she was very careful to point out how much great the WWE was doing with it, right?
She's trying to get a job.
Kind of seemed fish on it. It was a lot about me in that. She did not once highlight anybody from AEW in a positive light who's Powerhouse Hobbs, other people. I'm blanking because I'm trying to combine them. Moose. She didn't plug Moose from Impact.
Nope.
She didn't plug anybody else. She didn't plug any independent talent in her promotion and say, how come these guys don't have jobs? It was me. It was all about me is what her post was about.
Moving on. Can we move on?
Yeah, I think we can move on. No one will ever be Roddy Piper.
No one will ever be Roddy Piper. Did you see the promo this week from MJF and CM Punk? It was 8 minutes long.
They've done it so much, I've forgotten which one's which.
Okay, it was 8 minutes long, but I've condensed it down to 2. And in this, Punk apparently on Twitter back and forth, and I don't follow a lot of Twitter, but on Twitter back and forth, they were discussing Roddy Piper. There will be none other than Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper is Roddy Piper himself. But this was great.
Okay. Are we going to watch 2 minutes of you jerking it to MJF? You're really happy with your fades, aren't you? Oh, hey! Look who it is!
The last 3 matches has the captain Sean Dean. He's set to go one-on-one. Come on!
Did you see this?
No.
MJF running for Punk. Like a scalded dog, he's running. Oh, look at that! CM Punk. Wait, what the hell? CM Punk. Oh, the GTS on Sean Dean. That's a little surprising.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this match as a result of a disqualification, Captain Sean Dean.
He just got lost.
MJF's first loss ever in singles.
I didn't think of that.
MJF's first loss at a singles match ever.
Did not think of that. Nice.
And look who it was. It was the Sean Dean. Sean Dean gets it's in the record books.
Yeah. Do you think that was a knee jerk?
No. You watch how this plays out.
Are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, the record's reset in the new year. Yeah, you're all in one. This is tremendous.
This is your future. This happens every single time you step into the ring until you step in the ring with me, you little bitch. And by the way, I think it's really interesting you have such a problem with me saying I'm like Roddy Piper. You really got offended when I drummed up that comparison. So I'm just curious, PG Punk, do you think...
How quickly they turn.
Do you think you're Roddy Piper? Because the last time I checked, unlike you, Piper was actually talented enough to main event a WrestleMania. And by the way, if I'm not starting to be shown the proper respect around here, maybe I'll main event a Mania too.
look at him. He's just like,
What are you laughing at, dipshit? All I'm trying to do is kick your ass, so how about you stop talking and get in the ring? I'll do it right here, right now in New Jersey. You ran from me, you hid behind FTR, all I want to do is give you the beating you deserve. And listen, pal, if you think the grass is so green around the other side, be my guest. Go ahead, leave. Main event night 4 of a buy one, get one free extravaganza, and then get released faster than you lasted the set. When you come back, I'll still be here, and that ass kicking will be waiting for you.
so.
Are we talking? Are we going to mention the fact that the Royal Rumble is like buy one get 5 free right now? I thought about asking, be like, hey, you want to go to the Rumble next in like 2 weeks?
So.
Yeah, my plans fell apart, but I honestly was like, we could probably get tickets to the Royal Rumble now at this point. We could go together.
You probably could.
We could probably get ringside. Yeah. Oh, did you hear the seat filler story?
Yeah, I saw the seat filler story. So,
yeah.
it just was. I had to cut a lot of it down, but
Yes.
you got. So basically, the story is that every time MJF comes to the ring, CM Punk's going to get him disqualified to make his record.
Yeah.
I accidentally cut out. He goes, "It's really hard to get a championship opportunity if your loss record keeps increasing."
Yes.
So at the end of this, he says, "Oh, fine. I'll next week. It'll be me. It'll be you versus Wardlow."
Of course, yeah.
So it'll be Wardlow next week.
So is that going to be
Closer to
Is that going to be the turning of Wardlow away from MJF? Is he gonna?
I think we're gonna get closer.
Is he gonna lose to Punk because Punk is unbeaten right now?
Right.
Is he going to lose to Punk and MJF's going to snap on Wardlow and maybe Punk is going to try and get his hands on MJF and then Wardlow is going to get involved and Wardlow is going to end up waylaying MJF?
Possibly.
I mean, the question is then we talk about this, is that something, when we talk about AEW and we talk about like the feel-good moments like Hangman Page winning and other events that have happened that we'll talk about here in a minute, damn, we really went long on that bitch. Would you feel good about that? Would you feel good to finally see Wardlow break?
Punch him dead in his face? Oh, the crowd will lose it.
Yeah, I think so too. And unfortunately, is it something that we see a mile coming away? But it's going to make us feel good.
Oh, absolutely. So, do you think?
Or is MJF very smart and he's been laying the seeds and they're going to do it, tease it, Punk's going to let his guard down, and then Wardlow and MJF are going to jump Punk.
You know what the crazy thing is with
Is that too WWE?
No, because with AEW you just don't know because
It's
they
true.
surprise you every. If it was WWE, we'd know 100% because all the tells would be there. Now, my question is, and the whole reason I brought this up is, MJF like a modern day Piper, where he's constantly getting in your head, he's constantly drawing the heat. Like if MJF existed 30 years ago, people would be. He'd have death threats. I'm not sure that he doesn't have death
they
threats.
Would riot. MJF.
He would be coming out with 5 cops.
Jim Cornette has talked about it. He is this 100% of the time. He flips off 5-year-old fans.
On his Facebook post, he just posted a video. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to be at I can't remember Vancouver Comic Fest. I want everybody to make sure they show up and give me their money, because I need more money."
Yes.
It's like I'm going to sign your paper and you're going to give me
We've talked
money.
about it. I mean, we don't need to keep going on with MJF, but he's the hottest heel in wrestling. He's probably one of the hottest talkers and things in wrestling.
Does he compare?
No. He does not compare.
A modern day version?
I don't like the modern day whatevers, Okay. I've never been a fan of,
Well, he's definitely not CM Punk.
I'm not a fan of the second incarnation of, and I know we've used those parallels here sometimes before where I've talked about, obviously, the physical standpoints of Adam Cole and Shawn Michaels, but also the athleticness, the talking, the look, the performance, and everything. Yes, Adam Cole should have been the next Shawn Michaels. They talk about, who was it? Jason Jordan was the next Kurt Angle, or this person's the next that. I like them to be their own people. So the question I have, and I know I use that phrase a lot, so the question I have is is he good enough to work with Piper?
Oh, him and Piper going back and forth, I'd pay money to watch that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, is he like Piper? Yes. Is he in the same tier as Piper? Yes. Is he the next Roddy Piper? There'll never be another. Because Roddy Piper was just Roddy Piper.
But he is definitely more like Piper than Punk will ever be.
I don't know. Let's talk about that for a second. Punk was always the number 2 guy. He was never the number 1.
Right.
Roddy Piper was always the number 2, never the number 1.
Right.
It was always better for Piper to chase than to have, which is why he never took the WWF title, even when he probably could have been the transition champion for Hogan. He never wanted to do the job for people he didn't respect. He was in movies. Punk's in movies. You know, Punk is just as easy comparable to Roddy Piper as anybody else is when you talk about that tier of people.
So,
the only difference between the two is that
20 years?
20 years, Piper's massive alcohol and drug habit and Punk's straight edge.
So, what I'm hearing you say is Punk is more like the person Piper, and MJF is more like the character Piper.
Yeah. Yes, I would say
that's fair.
I would say Phil Brooks and Roddy Toombs are closer together than Maxwell is to yeah.
Okay,
I would say that, yeah.
That's a fair comparison.
If anything, at this point, I think MJF's all on his own. He is a unique thing all on his own for the time that he's in for it. And I would almost put him more, maybe Flair. He's more Flair. Maybe Dusty.
I think it should be.
He's definitely more Dusty than his own kid is.
MJF should wait at least 5 years before he gets a major title. But we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right.
So, NXT story, AEW, Raw. Let's talk about the storylines that are going on, and we have the sheets of what happened to help remind us about
I wanted
stuff.
to be done with this show in like 40 minutes, and
I told you that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it never works.
So, first of all, let's talk about announced was the female Royal Rumble.
Man, you want to talk about lack of? Let's just talk about lack of talent. Let's talk about lack of talent so much that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
not all the names
11, 12. Here are 12 active roster participants.
Yeah, okay. Fine.
And everybody else just gets a paycheck for once working there. And that's
including the Impact Knockouts champion.
More importantly, Pat McAfee on SmackDown said the Impact Women's Champion Mickie James is here. And I believe he actually said
Impact Knockouts champion.
The doors are getting knocked down.
Yes. And then WWE shortly after tweeted out, you heard him right.
Yeah.
And then Impact the next day, because I waited, did say, yes, this is going to happen. And they put on the Twitter that now, and they did a Tony Khan. It was like, yes, it is true. Impact Knockouts champion Mickie James will be competing in the Royal Rumble. We have come to an agreement. Now let's see if she retains it against Deonna Purrazzo. Mm-hmm. And that's when Dad goes, well, I know who's winning that match. And we'll talk about that flipping through in a little slide. But
yeah,
I could have sworn I read an article not 3 months ago that both of those were medically retired.
Yes.
I thought this was a joke. I thought when Charlotte Flair brought this promo, I thought she's like, oh, she's just picking people. None of these people are real.
Nope, they're there. Michelle McCool.
Mrs. Undertaker.
Michelle McCool has outlasted Mark Calloway in the wrestling world. I like Kelly because she's beautiful. I'm on her Facebook. I like Barbie. Barbie's gorgeous. And anytime she shows up, I go, man, she got really good. Why isn't she here all the time? And then I realize, oh, that's right. She makes way more money doing her modeling game than she ever probably did in the WWE.
Where's Trish? Where's...
Trish will probably show up. We still have 10 more people. They have 10 more names. I assume that's going to be 10 people from... I know we're going to do a book show of this, but you know who else they need to add in this?
Who?
And the person who should win it?
Who?
Raquel Gonzalez. Have Raquel win the Royal Rumble.
Yes, there should be some NXT brought-ups.
It's got to be the rest of the NXT female roster, and I assume they're going to have that in the upcoming weeks. But wow, Mickie James, and nobody else of interest because Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair decided. The funny thing is that
there's nobody.
They ruined her potential future promo by having her say. Pat McAfee said what I thought she should have said, but she said. She's going to win the Royal Rumble and be the first champion to win the Royal Rumble, and then she will get to name her opponent at WrestleMania. And Pat McAfee said, I thought she'd just win it and wrestle herself. And I went, Pat McAfee gets how the show should be written.
So?
They don't. The people writing the show don't, but Pat McAfee knows how to write the show because he's a fan.
So how do you think MJF responded? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked.
Yes.
I'd hardly call bringing in the Knockouts champ Mickie James opening the forbidden door. What's next? Bring in her husband Nick Aldis for the Men's Royal Rumble. Now inviting AEW Women's Champion Britt Baker to an entrance in this year's Women's Royal Rumble. Now that's what you could do. But I doubt even good old Vince McMahon will have the guts to do something like this because he's scared she'd outshine all of the women's roster. If you prove me wrong and do invite Britt, as you know, my contract is up in 2024. I'm happy to come and slap the Miz around for a little bit if you can get the taste of what real talented wrestler looks like.
Love it.
This is like I'm being a good AEW guy, but I'm gonna.
He's like, this is for the fans, this is for the company, this is for me. Love it. Love it.
And he even superimposed Britt Baker into the poster.
Oh, could you imagine that? One of the news articles that just came out is AEW is working with WWE on a future project. It's documentaries. I almost said documentarians, but that's the people who do it. It's documentaries.
But we do know
But it is interesting that there is talks.
And has it gotten to the point where Impact and the E are like, maybe we really need to work together?
No, I think the WWE just this is what they did. They went, how many people do we have on the roster? And they went, well, none of those people will probably draw a card. And then they flipped open their Rolodex, and it landed on MJ, not F, but Mickie James, and they went, what's Mickie doing? Wasn't she here like a couple months ago? Didn't we send her stuff in a fucking trash bag? You're kidding me. The person whose stuff they mailed to them in a trash bag is going to show up at the Royal Rumble.
She's going to carry a trash bag to the ring with her?
I hope she does. The question I have with that, and this proves the only interesting thing, unfortunately it does two things. It proves that nobody's watching your product right now but smarks like us. Because you only did this for smarks like us. Is how shitty is she going to look? Is she going to get tossed out on her ass in the first 30 seconds?
And she'll say, thanks for that $100,000.
Yep, thanks for that $250,000, Vince. I'm going to go back to my other show now.
And go continue my beef with Deonna Purrazzo or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only question I have is how long does she last? Also, Britt Baker would outshine every single one of those women except for Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair.
I honestly, take on most of the women on the roster.
The only person who really has any legitimacy is Shayna Baszler, I would say, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You notice Doudrop's not in it. Yes. Bianca Belair wasn't in it.
No.
Which we're going to talk about now.
All right. So, Raw. These are the current storylines. Brock's the champ.
We finally get Brock versus Bobby. Why is that? Because Bobby Lashley won a match. I posted it on the Facebook page. Please feel free to go and check it out. The promo that Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman had was great, except for the fact that Paul Heyman used COVID as a storyline. I didn't think that was very funny. I thought that was in poor taste.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was in very poor taste.
So
yes.
There was a 5-way match to get that match, and apparently that match got 4 stars. I actually didn't see that match.
It was a good match.
I fell asleep.
It was basically the pay-per-view match minus Brock Lesnar and 10 minutes longer.
I fell asleep with Almost and AJ and just...
That sucked so hard. All right. So, quick Raw recap. For some goddamn reason, Chad Gable and Otis defeated Randy Orton and Matt Riddle in 2 minutes and 55
Oh,
seconds.
you don't have to go match for match.
No, I'm going to blow through it. Dana Brooke, your 24/7 champion with Reggie, defeated Akira Tozawa and Tamina. Who gives a shit? Now, if you guys remember before our show we did before the break, I was very upset that Queen Zelina beat Rhea Ripley in 47 seconds via roll-up. Apparently, they heard me, because this time they decided to allow Queen Zelina to defeat Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley for a championship belt in 2 minutes and 34 seconds via a roll-up. And I said, when this happened, and Nikki Ash stood up and was like, I don't know what happened, Rhea. I'm so sorry. I said, kick that little girl's head off and
then
flip to heel. And it didn't happen.
No, we went right to the back.
We went right to the back. I do not even think any of these women had an entrance. I think when we came back from break, they were already in the ring.
Yes.
You have killed Rhea Ripley. Dead. You took her, you put her in the middle of the ring, and you shot her in the head. She's gone.
And now
I wear my Rhea Ripley shirt to work every day because it's a hoodie and it's freezing in Washington. I don't wear this one because this is very expensive. I wear my Rhea Ripley hoodie to work every single day. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford defeated Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz in 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 19 seconds.
Oh my gosh. It's a match we haven't seen yet.
Who cares? Unfortunately, I say, we haven't seen these guys before, but we have because we saw them on SmackDown.
Right.
So another match we've seen before. Damian Priest, who had...
Not a single match has gone over 3 minutes yet.
Damian Priest, this is the first match, defeats Dolph Ziggler via pin. Why? Because Damian Priest had a stupid storyline. And it was stupid. Stupid storyline.
Not had, has.
No, it's done.
No, it's not.
It's done.
No, it's not.
It is done.
No, it's not.
I'll tell you why it's done. Because Damian Priest, who apparently is given the character of Ken Shamrock when he came in, where he just snaps.
Oh, somebody realized.
Something happens and he just snaps. Wait, I'm getting there. Because I know what you're going to say. He has his Damian side.
And he has his priest side. You know why? The infamy. Because Vince goes, what's with this infamy of Archer of Infamy thing? Oh, that was his NXT thing. Do away with it. We need something
Hunter
new.
like that? We're done with that. Hunter almost died. That's what happened.
Damian means evil. No, Priest means good.
I just figured it. No, one of the stupid writers in the back went, Damian, I bet that's from that movie, The Omen. Ooh, his Damian side. Stupid. I'll tell you exactly what happened. I just had it. The light bulb went off in my head.
Light bulb.
This is what happened. Everything was going smoothly. Everybody was loving NXT and hating everything else that the company did. And then Triple H almost dies due to a cardiac issue. And Vince went, oh shit, Hunter could die before I do. Who's going to run the company? Massive overhaul of everything. Everything that Hunter touched got massively overhauled because I think Vince got afraid that Hunter could die
Makes no sense.
in 2 years.
Makes no sense.
So,
Vince poisoned him.
This...
He was outshining him.
Well, no, because Hulk Hogan wasn't there to shake Hunter's hand and poison him with the poison that he injected into the
All right.
Anyway, the reason this storyline is dead is because the Damian side did not win, and Damian Priest was able to hold back the darkness and retain. Because when they did this, I said, okay, if you're going to go with it, it makes sense. Robert Roode comes down and has a thing, and Damian goes crazy, and he loses it, and he gets disqualified, and now his darkness has cost him his championship. So now he is going to have to either embrace the darkness or figure out a way to purge it, and we're going to have another long story. Nope! You said
it! Long-term storyline.
He doesn't take the bait, he conquers the Damian, and keeps his title.
So now
storyline over.
So now Damian Priest is going to start coming in like this makeup that's going to come around here, down here to a point.
For some reason, The Colossus that is known as Omasis defeated AJ Styles in 3 minutes and 47 seconds. The entire time the crowd chanted, AJ, let's go AJ, 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 AJ. And then they just stopped chanting when they realized that this was going nowhere. It was terrible and Omos was going to win. And my question is if this match was so bad when you showed it at Madison Square Garden that did not happen on television, and it was so bad when you showed it at a house show, why did you feel the need to give it to us on Raw? This match was awful. Nobody buys almost, except for Vince, and nobody wants it except for Vince. And everybody wants AJ Styles, who is almost 50 years old, to be the main event guy that he should be. And in order to do that, you had to move him to NXT. Moving on, Bobby Lashley, who, for some reason, they decided to do this. We're not going to have Bobby Lashley and Brock at WrestleMania, because Bobby Lashley should have won the Royal Rumble and gone on and fought Brock at WrestleMania. Bobby Lashley beats everyone, and he gets to go on to have a match against Brock in 2 weeks. So we're going to get Brock and Bobby
At the Royal Rumble.
At the Royal Rumble. The dream match that everyone has asked for years. Which leads me to go, who in the hell is going to win the Royal Rumble on the men's side?
We haven't seen any. Oh, we've only seen one entrant.
Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville. Oh, yeah, Johnny. Oh, or do we have two now? Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn didn't qualify.
Oh, that's right. He's not in there yet.
Anyway, Raw was not awful, but it was also not very good. I didn't hate it as much.
It was the best Raw of the year.
Anyway,
we had some
Becky versus Bianca or Liv Morgan. Becky didn't know what to do, so she just said, I'm just going to leave the ring now.
You guys figure it out.
And then she did. And then everybody had a waylay, and then Becky comes in and waylays both of them to prove that she's still the champ. Not bad.
Nobody left.
Not bad. Miz and Maurice versus Edge and Beth Phoenix.
We knew this was going to happen because we watched day one.
NXT New Year's Evil, or the complete beheading and execution of NXT Black and Gold. Carmelo Hayes defeated Roderick Strong to unify the championship. Don't know why it had to be unified to begin with.
205's going away.
Because 205 is going away because they fired everyone and there's no point in having a cruiserweight champion, and it's just going to be the North American champion going forward. I wonder if that means if they ever bring the cruiserweight back, are they going to have to just bring it back, or is it going to be de-split in some kind of weird thing? Either way, this got a 4-star. I damn sure agree with this. This was a hell of a match between these two. And, most importantly, Carmelo Hayes won clean. And Carmelo Hayes did the most awesome, wonderful thing by having a image of Roddy Strong with angel wings with a date and a death date on his shirt when he came out, and I went, yes! Now that is how the new blood gets over. Subtlety.
I gave it a 3.
This was a fucking good match, man.
I gave it a 3.
This was a damn good match.
I think I was soured just watching it because
I thought everything that these two guys did, he won clean. There was no cluster with Trick in the corner, or the what is it, the Down syndrome guys, what are they called? The Creed.
Right, the Creed brothers.
Yeah, the Creed bros were not there.
So
this was great.
So is Roddy wishing he could have a contract now to be part of the Paragon?
I like that picture of all my friends in AEW, and he's just looking out the window like, oh. That was good. Nash Carter and Riddle and Wesley defeated Imperium. This got 3 3/4. I didn't like this match.
I gave it 2.5.
I thought, wait, hold on. No, I'm wrong. I really liked this match. Except for Imperium lost. Walter looked good. I forgot how good Riddle and Walter could be and had been for a while when they worked someplace else. Eichner did his crazy test of strength stuff that he did. The guys did a bunch of flippy flip stuff. And, I mean, to a point, it made the fans happy. The only problem is that Imperium lost, and that makes him look super weak. And then Matt Riddle just got on his Riddle cycle and rode off into the parking lot sunset. And I thought, well, that pretty much just kills Imperium.
So do you know who the shaman was supposed to be? It's now been revealed. It's supposed to be Jeff Hardy.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Don't care.
So, what do you rate this match? This is technically this is as good as NXT is going to get for pay-per-views at this point.
This is a 3-star match.
Okay.
This is a damn good match.
I gave it 3.
Now, Moving on to the next match that I did not like at all. Mandy Rose, the champion, defeats Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez.
So Mandy Rose came in a helicopter. Do I remember seeing something like that anytime recently?
Yes.
Oh, that's how Charlotte showed up to WrestleMania, isn't it?
My question is did they put in a helicopter pad? I assume there's a helicopter pad there because of the training performance center and to get people airlifted to the hospital faster, or they shoot this in a different location.
So, fun fact, in Kitsap County, if there's an emergency, do you know where the airlift pad is?
No.
The mall.
Huh.
So there are designated.
Did you know that the mall is also the disaster relief meeting place for Kitsap County?
I didn't know. Because I got taught that for the Navy. Anyway, so
Mandy Rose wins. This match sucked.
They didn't even rank it.
Yeah, this match sucked.
I'm going to give it a 2.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't. No. 1.5.
Ooh, 1.5.
This is not a good match. There was a lot of people just standing around waiting for stuff to happen to them.
Okay.
And there was a lot of botch spots, and a lot of times it looked like the girls did not want to go into the stuff that they wanted to go into. I think they even got another stupid kendo stick out at one point, and I'm so sick and tired of seeing a kendo stick in the WWE as the weapon of choice. So, Braun Breaker
symbolically destroys the X.
Now, I want to talk about this to a point, but I don't want to go too far because I have a couple different things to go about it. I want to get your feelings. How do you?
I get to talk.
Yes. How do you feel about? Let's just start there. How do you feel about Braun Breaker's entrance?
I was disgusted by it. It was symbolic. It told me everything I needed to know about the match.
Okay, now let me ask you this question though. Why did Braun Breaker do that? It is not in his character at all to do that. Because did he not just chase Grayson Waller out of the back locker room for attacking and making fun of the originals? Mm-hmm. Did he not make clear statements that he respected all of the people who had come before him and laid the groundwork and all of this stuff? Did he not tell Tommaso Ciampa in his promo that it was his time to be champion, and no disrespect to Tommaso Ciampa, he's just the guy with the belt that he has to take it off of because he's Braun Breaker. Mm-hmm. What about walking out and kicking a gigantic pre-cut in half styrofoam black and gold X made any sense for Braun Breaker's character? So,
when I see that, my first thought immediately goes to Cody Rhodes in the very first AEW pay-per-view.
And every other time since then he's done it.
Taking a sledgehammer to a throne.
Uh-huh. Now,
which is this is dead, and and this is what's new.
Yes. Now, I want to ask you a question. I liked the earlier moment where Braun comes out and he's got the chains wrapped around his hands. And they're tied up to the entry ramp. And he does this and he snaps the chains, right? And then he walked out and kicked the X in half. I loved that entrance. I thought that was cool. And if they wanted to do something just a little sly, what if one of the chains was black and one was gold?
That would have been not as obvious, and I would have appreciated that more.
I would have appreciated that of here is the new guy breaking away from the chains of the old.
Not knocking the X.
Kicking the X over. Also, it looked terrible because Braun Breaker is 6'5" and 265 pounds, and he had to have a pre-cut styrofoam X made so he could kick it over in half.
He basically, when I looked at him, I'm like, oh, you're kicking the old school's dick in the dirt.
Yep. By the way, if you can't tell what we're talking about, Braun Breaker defeated Tommaso Ciampa, the champion, to become the new NXT Heavyweight Champion. I don't even know if they call it the Heavyweight Champion. It's just the NXT Championship. This match got 1, 2, 3, 4 stars, and I will damn sure second that. This was a hell of a match, regardless of the pre or what's coming after. Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker was money in the ring. They were great. At some point, Tommaso got hard-weighed. I could never tell where it happened. I was almost curious if he actually did a subtle blade job through the eyebrow, or maybe you're like right above here, and that started it, because he wasn't gushing. He just had blood across his face. It made the match. It looked great. They told a great story of Braun Breaker going up to the second rope to do the big bulldog and getting hesitant. He's like, I can't do that. And then he paid the cost for it. And then the ending of the match saw him actually be confident, climb to the second rope, jump off, do the bulldog, then do the move to put Tommaso Ciampa away. I thought that was a complete story told in that match that was wonderful. And I posted the picture. I love the fact that after the fact, Tommaso Ciampa went over to Rick Steiner and shook his hand.
Yeah, I agree. I
loved this match.
I guess I only give it a 3.5 because maybe I need to rewatch it without bitterness in my mouth. Because I had a lot of bitterness watching it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll rewatch it without the bitterness.
The only thing that I could say could possibly take away from that bitterness for me was the simple fact of I already had seen him kicking the X in half as an article that came across on my news feed. Right. So I knew that it was coming. So maybe if I had seen it live uninterrupted, I would have been tuned out of the match. But watching the match as it was, outside removed, this was an amazing match.
All right, so NXT storylines, RP, you'll be missed. We already eulogized them. Walter's there now and talk about bad timing.
Yeah. Why take Walter to NXT? Just put Walter on SmackDown.
Well, we're going to get to that in a minute. And NXT's mantra is, hey, can we borrow some talent to make people watch us?
Also, I have this question. Why couldn't we have dumped one of these matches to actually have AJ Styles and Grayson Waller?
Because that would have made sense. Because they want people to watch next week, too.
But if anything else, it made me upset that they even had segments. They could have dumped, maybe not even a match. If you wanted these 4 matches on this card to show this, and you knew you were going to have Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker go commercial interrupted at the end of the show, why didn't they dump a bunch of these stupid segments in the middle, like Boa talking in the mirror to his Damien side, or the other segments where people were cutting promos? Why even have AJ and Grayson Waller have a 6-minute promo at all? Because all AJ had to do was come out and say, you know what? I got my gear on. Grayson Waller, where you at? And Grayson Waller come out and say, no, not on AJ time. And AJ say, nope, get in the ring, motherfucker, and just beat him up.
Yeah, I did find it funny
ding, ding.
AJ was getting annoyed with the crowd because they wouldn't stop chanting his name.
Yeah, the crowd kept going, AJ, and he's
like, no, I got it.
I got it. He's like, I get it. I'm happy I'm here too. I'm going to wrestle.
All right, SmackDown. Hey, we need your help. Send Seth.
Ooh, very important thing. Dark match.
Oh, yes. Well, let me get through the story. Let me get through the storylines, and then you can talk about the match. All right, fine. Talk about the matches.
I'm just going to say one thing. Tommaso Ciampa defeats Pete Dunne in a dark match. Do we not have enough people on the roster for the show, or are we trying to see what people look like? Also, will Tommaso Ciampa keep true to his words that he echoed 2 years ago of, I will never go back to a main roster? Also, what the hell would they do with Pete Dunne? Pete Dunne would never translate over to them.
Ciampa wouldn't either.
My son's favorite wrestler in the world is Rick Boogs.
Man, that guy's got over.
Rick Boogs is the most over character on the show next to Roman Reigns.
He's the most over mid-carder.
Yeah.
If you were going to go with popularity, Rick Boogs is Roman Reigns' next opponent.
Yeah. Rick Boogs alone. My son loves him. He goes, Daddy, it's Rick Boogs. He's like, Rick Boogs is wrestling. I'm like, yes, he is. And Rick Boogs does stuff. And then he goes, yay, Rick Boogs won. And I'm like, yes, he did, Caden. Yes, he did.
And he's jacked. He's athletic. His match on SmackDown was the most athletic match I've ever seen him do.
He also went down to both his knees with Sami Zayn in a suplex. Didn't quite hold it as much as he should, but he didn't drop him either. And then he picked him up from his knees back into a standing position into a vertical suplex. Charlotte Flair defeats Naomi in 13 minutes and 10 seconds. This went on for fucking ever. And it was all tied into Charlotte's promo that went on forever. And it made no sense because Sonya Deville came out and started changing the rules of the match, including... So,
oh no!
This. I have to talk about this because I see it's not there. You do have Charlotte has no competition, but I need to talk about this. So, Charlotte puts Naomi in the figure 4 lock. And she's trying to put her into the figure 8 lock, and she can't bridge up, and Naomi's fighting.
To quote my dad, her booty's too big.
So, while this is happening, Sonya Deville gets on the mic again after this and goes, No. This is a no disqualification match.
There was nothing...
Which, by the way, she said, you can't win via pin. You have to win via pinfall or submission. Now, comma.
That was really awkward.
Comma. When that happened, no disqualification spots ever happened in this match.
Had not.
Nor did they happen after.
Nope.
2. Pinfall or submission. She was in a submission hold when she got the mic.
And it was also a regular match, which stated...
Pinfall or submission.
Yes.
3. When they did her spot, the camera stayed here in the ring for too long before cutting to Sonya Deville. And you just saw Naomi going... She just stopped and sat up and looked at Sonya Deville while she was in the figure 4. And I was like, so, wrestling's fake. None of this is real. The moves don't hold. Everyone's working together with each other. Nothing is at stake here. Because you just had to shoot your brilliant angle of Sonya Deville mistreating Naomi more. And in order to do that, you had to make sure to shoot the wrestler not reacting to the fact that she was in a submitting wrestling hold.
Hey, question.
Yeah.
Do you think Big Swole appreciates how Trinity's being portrayed on TV?
So, to me, that was the equivalent of... The only thing I could equate this to...
I want an answer!
I'm not answering that question. The only thing I could equate this to was... Imagine... For my other fans out there, you won't catch all of this, but that's okay. You can get in the mindset, okay? At the UFC pay-per-view at Christmas, Charles Olivier, Oliveira.
Yeah.
God, I can't say his name. He's Brazilian. I apologize.
Olivier just died.
Poitier
died. Sorry.
Yes, Sidney Poitier. He's also not Brazilian. He's the champion. And it's his first title defense, and he's fighting Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier is loved by everyone.
Okay.
And he just came off of 2 successful knockouts of Conor McGregor.
Right.
And it's his championship match to get back into the championship match. And nobody is really betting on Charles.
Right.
Everybody's looking at Poirier. And he makes Poirier tap out via submission in, I believe, the 2nd or 3rd round, right?
Okay.
And he retains. That would be the same... is if Dana White, in the middle of the fight, said, No, that's not supposed to happen like that. And Poirier is just like, starts smiling, and Olivia, Charles has just got him in his neck crank, and he's just like, oh, I'm not supposed to win. Okay, sorry.
Yep.
Good God, people. Good God.
Almighty.
Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss defeated Eric and Ivar. I didn't even know that they were still employed.
I neither. But Madcap looked good again.
Yeah, once again, Madcap Moss impressed me. He caught Ivar.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But that's about the end of that. Oh, he did a pretty good. He did a pretty good Roman Reigns. He did a pretty good.
Now,
Yeah.
real quick.
He did a. Really,
I know we said we were going to rip this to shreds, but I don't think we could do it any more than what it is. Jimmy and Jey Uso, once again,
worst match I've ever seen.
Defeated Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods in the New Day. The New Day are awful.
Okay,
at
so
this point, they're so bad.
I was going to say, I actually don't like the New Day anymore. When they brought in the Cassius card Roman Emperor helmet and...
So they brought in a Spartan helmet.
And a breastplate.
And a breastplate.
And sold it like it was iron.
And...
That's all I really need to say.
Jimmy Uso super kicked Xavier Woods in the head while he was wearing the helmet. And he no-sold it.
Because the
helmet protected him from the super kick. He didn't even move. Now, I have worn a helmet in the SCA fights and been hit in the head with a rattan sword. Your helmet goes. And your brain goes, whoa, when somebody does that. It does not give you immunity to everything. It just protects your head from being caved in. Now, the stupid thing is immediately after that, he took the fucking helmet off. It was protecting your head, you dumb shit. Apparently, it was giving you the powers of God. And you took it off.
Why wouldn't you just start headbutting him?
And then he threw it to one of the Usos who caught it. And then Kofi threw the breastplate to one of the Usos. And I thought, why would you give someone... Here, this gun is protecting me from you, the mugger. Would you like to hold this for a minute?
I see that your gun is unloaded. Here, have mine.
Have some bullets, please. Will that help you? So they could do the Rob Van Dam kick spot.
Which they missed.
And then the stuff never came into play. This was a horrible match. It was so bad.
SmackDown was bad.
This match was negative 2 stars. And for a New Day Uso match that's so bad, and it's not, the moves were not great. And by the way, I forget exactly. Didn't the Usos just win the match? Normally?
Yeah.
And the only thing I thought of is...
No. They put him through the table with the 1D.
Oh, that's right. They put him through the table with the 1D.
Which Bully Ray apparently is very appreciative of the call out for the 3D.
Now, I said to myself, and Joseph, this is why we need to work for Vince, because we can get you money, and then you can actually give us money at this point.
We could write a better show. We've done
having to put disclaimers up there that we're not trying to take your money. But I could earn your money, because you have Brock Lesnar at the show, right? Why not? You have a street fight, and Roman at the top of the show punches Brock Lesnar with the Superman. By the way, Roman's back again. That plays into our COVID conspiracy on our own.
That'd be brilliant, because that would make sense.
In a street fight, why doesn't Brock come out after he'd been sucker punched by Roman Reigns and just fuck up the New Day, the Usos, and the New Day win?
Because he'd already gone home.
Can we get through AEW?
So, AEW. So they had 3 shows this week.
Yes, they did.
Only 2 of them mattered. When it comes to AEW, all we really need to talk about is...
Why is it... You know what? I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. You know what? When we came into the show, and Joey was putting the slides and stuff together, I said, well, we go based off of what happens first, and then we kind of recap all the shows by company first. And, we were doing it show by date. So we were having...
Bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, we were bouncing back and forth between stuff. So I said, well, why don't we do all of the E in one shot, and then we'll do all of the AEW in one shot. Now I realize from the last statement I made, we want to make everyone go home happy. We run long on the shows we hate because the shows that make us happy are so good that, I'm wrong. We need to move AEW to the front of the list of things we talk about, so that way we can be super positive guys and be happy. And then we'll only have a couple minutes to just be like, WWE suck. Let's go home. Like, let's get off the air. Let's go home. Let's all go eat dinner or something. Let's be happy and live a wonderful life and not talk about the WWE and their sinking ship anymore when we can talk about someone that is on the meteoric rise of AEW. Oh, by the way, Cody's out sick. Who cares?
Like Roman Reigns.
But you know what, though? Roman comes back, and the crowd is going, Roman,
Yeah.
Roman. And when he goes, acknowledge me, the crowd goes, yeah! When Cody comes back out, they are going to shit all over him, and they're going to be like, why didn't you die while you were sick?
So,
By the way, the whole Rhodes family has COVID. Including, I believe they said, their neighbors.
So, Adam Page and Daniel Bryan, part 2.
Different than the first.
Went 30 minutes, 29 minutes and 5 seconds.
This was a great match.
This match was everything I didn't like about the first match was fixed in this one.
But doesn't that
However,
make sense?
Yes, but however, I don't think they both needed to blade each other. It was obvious that when they were for a seasoned wrestling fan, it was obvious when the screen wasn't on them and his head was tucked under the ring.
Yeah,
they were blading.
I would say that I believe it was Paige's blade job I saw, but I don't think I saw Bryan's.
No, Bryan's was off screen, but he came up from the. Now, I have never, not since I watched Junkyard Dog in 1986, have I seen so many headbutts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Them
two should have brain damage.
So there's a show that it's not on our list that we're going to talk about because we were still compiling everything, which is New Japan had their very famous January 4th Tokyo Dome show. They did, 4 days?
Yes, 4 days.
Or something crazy.
Wrestle Kingdom was 4 days.
Wrestle Kingdom was 4 days, so we haven't been able to compile everything together yet. But returning one of the heroes, Shibata.
Yes.
Not Shibata, but she...
No, you're right.
Okay, I was like, am I saying his name? I love this guy. I'm so glad he's back.
From brain injury. Possible brain injury.
I have been going through almost most of his matches that he's had around the time frame when American Dragon was there because I'm thinking he was actually the one in the match that is one of my
I'm going to
favorite
find
matches
it.
of all time. I'm going to find it. If you guys only knew the depths that I am crawling to find this match for everyone's, because I want me and Joey to watch it and just be like, is this not the greatest match you've ever seen in your life? The man was gone because he used the headbutt.
Yes.
Repeatedly, which caused an aneurysm.
Yes.
Daniel Bryan was gone because he damaged his brain. Daniel Bryan, I do not care how good of a worker you are. You should maybe not do head injury, headbutt spots as much.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason Vince said,
we're not going to do this movie anymore.
Hey, DB, what do you plan on doing tonight? Well, I was thinking about doing like 6 diving headbutts off the rope, and Vince went, ooh. No, I don't think we're going to do that. Fucking great match. This is a great match.
It got 4 3/4. I give it 5. I love that.
I can't say it was a 5-star match. The only thing I can say is that, man, a definitive winner, and I love this match.
And Danielson took the pin. Oh, and it was you talk about that moment we know is going to happen.
Yeah.
But are we going to still enjoy it? About 15 minutes into about the 20-minute march, I'm like, I looked at that. I go, when he finally is able to get the buckshot, when it has become I'm going to get this buckshot off
now,
and when he finally gets it, he's going to win the match. It's going to take him finally getting it. And the anticipation is like, is this the time? Is this where he's going to get it? Is this where he's going to get it? And I love that. I knew, I'm not going to say I knew the outcome, but I knew that if X happened, Y was the result.
The only thing I can say about this match, and this is the criticism that I've had for AEW that has led to the parallels of WCW. Did I miss y'all talking about NXT? Yes, hon, you missed it. I don't like that they keep giving away pay-per-view quality matches on television.
Agreed. But I'm glad I didn't have to pay $50 to see it.
Well, we wouldn't have anyway. What I would have liked to have seen was the reverse. I would have liked to have seen Daniel Bryan on the verge of winning and the time limit run up again.
I would have not liked that.
I would have liked that.
No, because then the judges would have had to score.
And then
Jerry Lynn.
they would have called it a draw. And then
You can't have it.
they would have booked a pay-per-view.
You're not going to have it. You have 3 judges.
If they all score it the same, that's called a draw.
That was the whole purpose of it. Not the way that. So wrestling doesn't understand boxing. In the wrestling, it was supposed to be each wrestler, each one of those 3 people picked a winner. Jerry Lynn was to pick a winner.
Oh, that's right. They didn't do scoring.
Jerry Lynn was going to pick a winner. Mark Henry was going to pick a winner, and Big Show was going to pick a winner. So.
Well, that's dumb.
That's why they had judges.
That's so dumb.
Anyway.
That's so dumb.
So.
Why would you? No.
So.
That's why I said that's the problem I have with how in building things. If they would have done the reverse, and I know you said that would have soured you, but you're wrong. Then they have a pay-per-view. They have a pay-per-view card. There has to be a winner. But no time limit.
But they also only do 4 pay-per-views a year.
No time limit. Oh my God, we get more of Adam Page and Daniel Bryan doing stuff for the next, 2 months before their next pay-per-view? Oh, shit. Sorry.
They also
don't want to see that.
This was also the first match on TBS, and they want to get some viewership.
I mean, I get it, but again, that's WCW. Let's book a television show that doesn't lead to a pay-per-view.
All right, so AEW storylines, like I said, we're not going to go all 3 shows match for match. Cody's sick, and so they had to do an interim champion.
Guess who get the belt back?
So Sammy gets the belt back from Cody, or from Cody's brother, and I maintain that that man, Dustin Rhodes, is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He looked good for his age.
No. For his age and everything that he did, he looked fine. I enjoyed it. This is a good show.
I won the bet. Jade is the TBS championship. However, man, did she look weak against Ruby Soho.
She looked so bad, didn't she? And when she won, I was just like, wrong. Not because I picked Ruby Soho, because truthfully, I would have wanted it to be Thunder Rosa, but Thunder Rosa got pulled off because they hired somebody new.
Right.
Mercedes Martinez.
Right, which is going to be
okay. Okay. I'm less salty. However, though, when they did Jade and Ruby, I said to myself, damn it, Joey's going to win this.
Right.
Because I knew that Jade was going to get it. And I'm not going to lie, in the back of my mind, I also had the Big Swole thing come through my head of, The other thing I have with this is, after Ruby loses, they have a promo in the back, and Britt Baker comes up and humiliates her again.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, can this bitch not get a break in any company? Is she
or she destined to unseat Britt?
I didn't feel it.
Because this is the third week in a row that Britt's been has done it to Soho.
I did not feel that coming from that at all. I felt she looked very weak, despite the fact that she looked better in the match.
I think Britt's going to get over. I think Britt's going to lose to Soho in the rematch. That's what it looks like they both do. Here's the thing. So
I mean, the other thing with that too is
maybe it was Soho's this big, swole, and Cargo's this hill, but they just. It was like watching. Honestly, it was like
it was watching AJ and Almost.
Yeah,
it was somebody who's extremely seasoned and good and is over versus somebody who they want to be something who's not there yet. And I like Jade. Don't get me wrong.
They had to sell the leg injury to make it look.
She did not look good in this match, and Ruby looked like she just was lost and didn't know what to do with this girl.
All right, so Sammy got his belt back so that we can have the Cody versus Sammy match that they want to have.
Yep. Why did they have an interim? Cody's only going to be gone for like 2 weeks.
Well, because apparently they're expecting him to be gone longer. I don't know.
Well, I guess because everybody in the household has it, they have to wait for everybody.
And they also everyone also hates Cody, so they want to give him some
didn't they say? Well, he just flipped heel though.
Yeah, because he's only not on screen.
Well,
It's
true.
only he's like, oh, my heel's hurting a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's only after show stuff.
Okay.
Riho can go away now because she lost. Britt Baker finally beat her.
Yes, Riho, go away. Don't come back. I'm sorry you were ever here. Kenny appreciates you taking one up the poop chute from him, or half a dozen, or however many it was. But why is she so over?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Why are people chanting Riho in the crowd?
I don't.
Why does she have signs?
I don't know. I don't know why they like her.
They have to be seat fillers.
I don't know.
They have to be Kenny's buddies, who's like, look, you have no idea the things that she does to me.
Jericho's going to leech off the Mad King now, which
That's exactly how I felt when I saw this. And I really hated the fact that Jericho had to cuss and cuss.
He does it he just does it for effect.
Yes. NXT saved it. Yeah. Joe Beth really liked NXT this week. She said that,
okay.
yeah, for the most part, she really enjoyed it. And
I'm sorry.
She really enjoyed the... so she now has 4... for the men, she now has, I guess, 3 favorites. One is our tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Well, yes, because he's a god amongst men.
2 is who she refers to as butt muscles, which is Finn Balor.
Who's buried.
Yes, and 3 now is Carmelo Hayes. Because she's like, he is so pretty. She loves Carmelo Hayes.
All right, so... so it's 2 weeks out, but apparently, and I did not see it. It's the only match I did not see.
Yes, and Jericho had to cuss a bunch.
For no reason.
And he screwed up his own cuss words and just couldn't,
for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. He tried to cuss so much that he realized he couldn't say the words that he wanted to say and just kept defaulting down to, dick as his cuss words, and it just... He said this word dick, 6 times in 30 seconds?
2 things that are on here. The Ty Conti Bunny blood match that was...
Oh, crap.
I did not see. That's the only match I did not see over the
Why,
holiday.
out of everything that we posted and sent out, and I sent out a ton of stuff, including the match.
I just haven't gotten
Why
to it.
did you not watch this?
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Now...
But it has given Bunny a whole new dimension.
Now, I do want to say something about this.
What? You want to say something?
I apologize.
Oh, what? You apologize?
The women need to stop getting so much blood. I don't know. Maybe it's the chauvinistic chivalry male
731
issue thing that I have. I just
This is the second occasion.
How many bloodbath matches did they do last year alone?
1.
Oh, I guess the nail.
Thunder Rosa
Yeah.
and Nick and
Not Nick Gage, but
Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker is the only bloody women
I
match.
thought there was at least 2 or 3 last
No, you're just
year.
thinking Abaddon, who just pours herself in blood.
I mean, technically, they all bleed at some point, right? But
Whoa! Anyway,
I guess the thing that I have for this is that this was really good, and I really liked it, but I just felt that this was just a little much.
Yep.
It was just a little too much. But the crowd loved it.
they did.
Tony Schiavone said it right, there's no one seated in this arena right now. Everyone is watching this match. And they're like, there's no one going to the bathrooms or the concession stand. And Excalibur needs to get off of the air. Great match. I just think they did too much.
So, as we said, AEW can't hire everybody. I don't know why you would hire Jake Atlas. I don't know what you see in Jake Atlas.
We never saw it.
Hook. Send Hook. Apparently is the thing. Maybe Hook will become better in your eyes soon. Who knows? And yeah. Other than that, then you have what was was the second best thing in wrestling this week, which was Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus winning the tag team champions from Penta And Ray, the match was amazing.
Um,
The match was amazing.
I didn't like the mirror spot
The mirror spot.
where they both did Luchasaurus and
Oh,
Ray
yeah.
and Jungle, and I didn't like the mirror
It's
spot
probably-
where
yeah,
they both did
the-
the same.
Yeah, it was
No.
a little. That was okay. Yeah, I'll
That
give you that.
that
I'll
looked a
give you
little
that.
too.
And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
You know, we almost broke Pence's arm. I mean,
Yeah.
Ray's arm.
Yeah, we almost broke Ray Phoenix's arm. Match was great. Again, unfortunately, Jungle Boy is falling. I do believe he really is, for the most part, falling into this is where he's just going to be at. He's not going to be a main event world champion.
At least
He doesn't have. He's a great athlete, and we all know who his daddy was.
Did you, by the way, give Paige? What did you rate Paige and Danielson?
4.5.
4.5 or 5?
I'll give it 4 3/4.
4 3/4. All right.
I haven't seen a 5-star match this year yet.
Right.
I mean, granted, we're only 9 days into the year, but yeah. I'm very stingy with my 5 stars, and I'm not going to be like Uncle Dave and be like, Kenny Omega gets 7 stars because he let me blow him once in California when he worked for PWG.
All right. So that's AEW was great this week.
AEW was damn good.
And then to close it out, Impact real quick. So Impact did have its pay-per-view. Also, we don't usually talk about them. Trey Miguel had an amazing match with Steve Macklin, as we speak. Jonathan Gresham defended his Ring of Honor heavyweight title against Chris Sabin and won. Jonah did submit to Josh Alexander.
Surprising, but good.
He doesn't need to go in there and win right away. And Moose did, in fact, beat Cardona and Morrissey. As you were expecting.
Good. Love Moose.
Mickey James defeated Deonna Purrazzo in a Texas death match that went 1940.
Now,
which is the hardcore match.
Did that happen before or after the announcement?
After. The day after.
Oh, okay. So your dad was wrong.
Yeah.
We were all wrong.
That happened the day after. And
so she would. Well.
Or did they just change it to spite WWE?
Well, no. Because why would you advertise the Impact World Champion as being in the Royal Rumble and not have the champion be in the Royal Rumble?
And Kevin sent this to me a little bit ago. Something that was not on my Impact hard sheet. Ring of Honor invades Impact. There was an invasion of Ring of Honor wrestlers to last night's Hard to Kill pay-per-view. Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, PCO, Vincent, and Maria Kanellis wreaked havoc after the Hardcore War match. It was Taven and Bennett who struck first, attacking Rhino and Heath. Fellow Impact stars Willie Mack and Rich Swann tried to help. PCO showed up. Ring of Honor Women's Championship Roxy was also ringside for the main event against Deonna Purrazzo. Unfortunately, James retained also during the show. Ring of Honor, which we already knew about that. So, a lot of Ring of Honor talent showed up. It makes sense that Jonathan Gresham's there because his wife is Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
So,
I was surprised that Bennett and Kanellis showed up because I didn't think they would. Yeah, I didn't see that happening.
Yeah, but
now here's maybe we'll save this for final thought. I'm going to hold that till now.
And then I have a question for you.
Ring of Honor invades Impact.
Yes.
Is this Ring of Honor, or is this just, hey, a bunch of guys who are unemployed invading their employment? Followed by, now AEW and their stuff did do their separation, and we didn't have a full invasion angle.
No, it was just
spoiler for upcoming at Wrestle Kingdom. Noah invaded New Japan.
I saw that.
The WWE is going to feature someone else's champion in their pay-per-view. One of the big four, Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax. Oh wait, sorry. Yes. Are there no?
What are you talking about? It's Creed. What's that other band? Oh man, I screwed it up. I can't think of it.
Man, this is the problem. Is that So if you're gonna do something, this is why there is the elite and there's the stars and there's
Creed,
the
Creed, Stained,
no, you're supposed to talk about people who don't have talent.
Nickelback.
There
Creed,
you
Stained,
go.
Nickelback.
Yeah. You got to put Creed, Nickelback,
Stained.
POD, and
Stained.
I like Stained.
I like all the bands. All right, so
Anyway, okay.
are there no doors anymore?
Are there no doors anymore, except for the one that
Vince has?
Nick Khan closes and hits you with on the ass on the way out the door? Or the one that apparently you get so upset at how you're being booked after, I assume, Kevin Dunn tries to grab your ass on the way to the ring that you get on a plane and fly back to fucking New Zealand.
Yeah, that was unfortunately something we didn't tack on this show because we were going to talk about it last week.
Yeah.
So, Ring of Honor has sworn
That they'll come back.
in June
Okay.
or April. No, they said April. So it was only they were going to take the first quarter off.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Who cares?
I know.
AEW is getting the best of them, and then Impact just picked up the rest.
Agreed.
The fact that the Briscoes and FTR are going to have a match, again, as Mr. TK, as he likes to be, and everybody calls him on his Twitter, one day, he gives us one day of the Briscoes and FTR somewhere. I don't care what anybody else does. That match is going to rule all asses.
That might be your first 5-star of the year.
Probably. Unless somebody gets hurt and screws it up.
And then you forgot Brian is teasing Okada.
No, Punk.
Oh, Punk.
Punk.
No,
Punk's-
Brian did too.
Yes, that's right, because Brian said, I second this. But yes. Now, I made some posts online, obviously, because of Wrestle Kingdom and everything. If there was one person who could change the landscape on American viewing for Japanese Asian talent, it is Okada.
And he did when New Japan was being performed on Access.
Yes.
New Japan needs to get their TV deal on cable so
Yes.
you don't have to pay for it.
Honestly, when I was finally able to figure out how to change the New Japan website billing center from Japanese
yen.
to English, from yen to American, I looked at their price and went, well, I might be dropping something and picking up New Japan service.
You know why that is because Japan, when I was in Japan last, which granted was 2012, it was $7 for a can of Coca-Cola. A can of Coca-Cola like this was $7 American dollars.
But isn't that over there translated like 10,000 yen or something crazy?
Yeah. So here's my final question for you.
Okay.
Crap. I need to write these things down. Will
Ospreay. Will Arnett. Will Ferrell.
Well, Ospreay. That's a yeah. Okay, so here's my question for you.
Uh-huh.
Will WWE bring anyone else cross-promoting, or will this be a one and done? Because
This is only because Mickey lives in the area.
Because this is the third time, technically, the WWE has cross-branded in the modern era.
Okay.
Because they cross-branded with Ric Flair when he got to go accept his Ring of Honor, not Ring of Honor,
his Hall of Fame ring.
From Impact.
Yes.
They
sent them Christian Cage in return.
They let Mr. Ass come on TV to get his. This was like the 1-for-1 right there. They met Mr. Ass get his Hall of Fame, and then to which Triple H then called AEW a pissant company, which did not age well nowadays. And so this is the third time that I'm aware of that someone contracted for another company can come into WWE land.
This is the first time they're ever letting somebody perform in the ring.
Right.
Now, when we talk about these things, we have to also look at the very unfortunate side of why we really don't get these things. And we can say Vince and the company doesn't need it, or they feel they're above, or blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about this in a realistic section. They don't want to pay if somebody gets their neck broken and paralyzed in their ring who works for another company. I imagine there is some massive insurance, or not. I'm not talking about the wrestlers. I'm talking about the company property grounds.
I'm going to guess.
If you cannot tell me that they have a worrisome, that if they bring in Moose, and Moose breaks his neck fighting Brock Lesnar or something, that they're going to not be liable for that happening?
Nope.
What, or even better, what if Moose walks down the stage and the stage collapses on him and kills him? And I know you're going to say independent contractor, blah, 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 sign-aways and stuff. I'm talking about all of the legal stuff that may or may not happen behind the scenes to get involved in this.
Nope. Because as an independent contractor, we're allowing you to go do this independent, and therefore you're signing a waiver stating that anything that happens to you on property is your responsibility because it is your insurance that is covered. Now, granted, acts of God might be like if you have an invasion angle with WWE and Ring of Honor, and 5 Ring of Honor boys show up to MetLife Stadium to wrestle WWE wrestlers, and MetLife is terroristically bombed.
Okay. Now,
a hurricane comes in.
I have another section of that I have to ask you about.
That might be different.
Now, I'm surprised it's Mickey James, honestly. But
after the garbage bag.
With Piggy James and the garbage bag.
Why you gotta go with Piggy James?
And the fact that she's hardcore country. But she's going to do business.
She's more popular than she's ever been.
You cannot tell me that the old school mentality thought could not come across someone's mind of, well, Moose, guess what? The WWE gave us a call. They want to work together, and they're going to have the Impact World Champion. I'm just saying Moose is the champion at this point.
Yes.
How about Moose? They're going to have you, we're going to work a program, and you're going to go work Extreme Rules. And you're going to work
Roman Reigns.
I wouldn't say that.
No, let's just go with Roman Reigns.
Let's go with Roman Reigns. Beat the fuck out of him. Do it on national, live, streamed, whatever they want to call it, television, for the entire world to show that you are the tougher guy compared to them because you're an independent contractor. Beat the shit out of Roman Reigns and take off and leave the building because it's clear that their security can't catch a crazy man who is 257 pounds tackling Seth Rollins. They're damn sure not going to catch somebody who is 250 pounds of solid muscle running through the arena because they don't have the security to do this.
Here's why you're...
Do it. Go out there and hit Roman Reigns so hard you knock the veneers out of his mouth. And
here's why you're wrong.
Beat the shit out of him and take off.
Here's why you're wrong.
What are they going to do?
Here's why you're wrong.
Okay, why am I wrong?
Because it's not 40 years ago.
Okay.
The wrestlers are all friends.
I don't know.
The wrestlers are all friends. And if
I'd apologize after. I'd call him and say, hey, Roman, sorry about your teeth, but
if
business.
If Roman is going to agree to get in the ring with someone from another company,
yeah,
he's going to be like, I'll work with Dean. I know Dean. He's like a brother.
What if Dean's on a bender and he just decides to go crazy and go off script and hits Roman in the face with a sledgehammer?
Then Roman will hit him back.
I'm just saying. I'm
guessing that
why
the contracts are written ahead of time where it's like, okay, so here's what's going to happen. The match is going to end. You're signing you're going to cash this check knowing you're going to lose, you're going to win. And because you're going to lose and you're from the other company, we're probably going to give you a little more money than we would have given Ricochet for losing.
What if okay, again, I'm Moose and I go, hey, D'Amore here. They're going to pay me $130,000 to go lose to Roman Reigns. Will you pay me $500,000 to go stomp him into the ground in front of everybody,
You have the see. That's because you think the worst of everything.
I would do it.
I know you would.
Could you imagine how over you would be with everybody but Vince if you went out there and just punched them right in the throat?
If Kevin Chambers was to say to you offline, "I'll give you $5 if you punch Joey dead in his shit on this on your podcast," you'd punch me.
In the words of Jerry Maguire, show me the money and I will gladly throat chop Joseph. Gladly.
So
$5 is $5, man.
I hope you'll do it for at least 20. I'd like to.
I'll negotiate up. But if he comes out with 5 and I say, what about 25? And he goes, nope. And goes, well, what about, 15? And I say 20. And he goes, 20's high. And he goes, you know what? Let's call the whole thing off. I'll go back and say, you know what? $5 is good. $5 is good.
So
can you throw in $5 and like a double cheeseburger from McDonald's or something after the fact?
Would you at least let me have a heads up that I'm going to get punched?
No! That would spoil the surprise. Surprise, dear God, we almost went 3 hours.
Hate you. So next week, we're going to talk, if we have a show, because you just never know in the Pacific Northwest what's going to happen with the weather. Next show, we're going to talk about, we are definitely going to talk about, we're going to spend some time on the viewership numbers. What are they called?
Ratings.
Ratings. That's the word we're looking for. We're going to talk about ratings. And I'm going to try to clean up the screen so that we can see it better. And that's all I got.
And we're going to talk about...
What do you want to talk about?
Tokyo Dome.
We'll talk about Wrestle Kingdom a little bit. He'll bring some stuff to the table. We'll talk about all the awesome things that happen in AEW and the things that we're scratching our head about in WWE. Oh, last thing. Did you notice that WWE is doing us a favor? They are doing us a favor.
Are they giving us money for their...
All the pay-per-views are on Saturdays.
Are they now?
Royal Rumble's on a Saturday. WrestleMania's 2 nights. Survivor Series, I was on a Saturday now. Like, if you look through the pay-per-view, go to Google and look at pay-per-views, almost all of them are on Saturday.
Why are they not on Sunday?
Because maybe AEW puts them on Saturday and they seem to make more money than his. Maybe people are more willing to go out on a Saturday night knowing that they can and stay up till watch a 4.5 hour pay-per-view on a Saturday night as opposed on a Sunday night.
They also don't have to compete with Monday Night Football. I know what I just said there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. They also don't have to compete with Sunday's sports.
All I know is...
And church for those people.
All I know is... And I've decided that we're probably... I've decided, because we haven't talked about it, we're probably not going to see SmackDown in February, which is sad because it's the only... they'll be the first wrestling show that we've missed since in the Pacific Northwest.
And it'll be the first time they've been back here.
And honestly, I just can't think of anything that would make me want to go to SmackDown unless I could sit behind Paul McAfee and watch him all show.
Which we looked at the price of those tickets, and we will not be doing that.
Well, we might be able to now. We might be able to get a 3-for-1 deal.
Let's talk about this
later
in the next day or two. Yes, because I still want to go. Because if we're going, I need to go. Because if we're going, I need to know so that way I can plug my time off request.
Right, and also last thing. I talked with Ian. He came into the comic book store the other day. Talked to him for a very short time, but apparently GCW is getting ready to do another pay-per-view.
Cool.
And he said he's going to try to get us the deets on it. He will not be at that one because
traveling
and he just his work situation.
Yeah.
But he did say he'd try to get us the deets for it. So I am Joey. He is Mike. I have nothing else to say. Watch Powerbomb Weekly. Go to Kitsap Great Escape.
Yeah.